Kerry Davis on the opening drive, presented by Sumner One.
Guess what day it is, huh? Hump Day!
Good morning, everyone. Happy Hump Day from the opening drive on 101 ESPN. It's 7 o'clock. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Brooke Grimsley is here. Super Bowl champ Kerry Davis is here. I'm Randy Carricker. Matthew Rocchio is here this morning, our audio engineer who does such great work in saying, guess what day it is? It is Hump Day. Hump Day got here in a hurry so far this week. I'm happy about it. You guys happy about Hump Day already?
Yes.
Good.
Always.
Good. You know what we need. What do we need? We need Archie the support chicken for our St. Louis Blues.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him in a while since all the Cardinals
I know there's
stuff this
a
season.
lot going on in the world. People have issues that they're dealing with, and it's always good to have a support chicken on your side. The Blues did lose 4-2 last night in Winnipeg. I mean, it's one thing to have to go to Winnipeg for your job. Nothing against Winnipeg. But then to go to Winnipeg for your job and then, fail at your job, that has to be a double dose of humility. Right?
Is that the best way to put it? It was just so bad.
It was really bad.
So bad. I texted you guys during the game. I'm like, this is getting hard to watch at this point because you just watch it. It feels like they're not playing whatever game that they want to play this season. They're not getting to that. They're not really establishing that. And the Jets did, but it's just like the Blues were once again playing on their heels.
You know what Ron Garab would say to this team? Shoot the pot, please.
I mean, it was a couple of times I was texting you, or we were texting it. You're skating right in front of the net. There is no one else. It's just you, dog. Just shoot it. There's no one to pass it to, bro. It's just you.
Just you.
You can shoot it out there. I think this team. I do think that they really like each other, obviously. I think they're too unselfish, though. I think there are times, I told you, Randy, there are great players. It's amazing to watch, right? Because they literally, nothing else matters to them. It is the craziest thing to watch in real time. But when it comes down to it, that guy's going to score. That guy's going to make a big play. That guy's going to make the sack, going to make the catch, shoot the shot, whatever it is, because he is so dialed into himself and what's going on in front of him that he doesn't see anything. These guys, in my opinion, they need a selfish player in a good way. A guy that will shoot the puck and not looking to get everyone involved. Shoot it. It's okay. Somebody on the team has to have that role.
Yep.
Somebody on the team has to say, this is my job. I know who it is, but I know what else we need from him as well. So he has to. This is going to sound bad, so if you're a Blues fan, don't listen. Just pretend you're playing defense. Just pretend. Give the notion, good effort. Give good effort. Look like it, but shoot the damn shot. You do that, and everybody else can pass it to you, and you're going to score 50 goals. Somebody on this team has to be a little bit more selfish and not... just looking to get everyone involved ever since. You got to have a guy that has that mentality that wants to shoot the puck and does it often.
Here's the way it unfolded last night in Winnipeg. A scoreless first period, and then in the first 3 minutes of the second period, Winnipeg scored a pair. Gustafson scoring, Appleton scoring. It's 2-0 in favor of the Jets. And then at the 18:25 mark, a guy we didn't even expect to play, played and shot.
Saucers it over to Braden Shen, far circle. Shen in front, Buchnevich. He scores! Pavel Buchnevich gets his first of the year. Deflects a power play goal over the shoulder of Hellebuck. And it's 2-1 with 1:35 to go in this second period.
And you're thinking, okay, we got a chance, but then that same lethargy offensively seeped in. Kyle Connor scoring 4:10 into the third for Winnipeg. Robert Thomas, our guy, Bobby Tommy, scoring late, but then Morgan Barron with an empty netter. And 4-2 was the final. And to the point, so back in my day, we had a word for these guys. Maybe not back in my day, maybe more recently. Every great team has a dude.
You got to have one.
Yes.
Who's the dude? I mean, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, hockey, who's the dude here?
When you look at a team, you have to have that guy. Every team breaks down into different categories. You got that guy, the superstar, then you have the stars, then you have your role players, and you have to have, every team has to have that person, those people on that team to be successful. Right now, this team doesn't have that. And they haven't had it, I would say, for the last couple of years. They had a guy in Tarasenko, but when you are dealing with contract issues and other guys getting paid and you may not be here, you really aren't that guy.
Right.
So, yeah, you got to have a guy.
You do, and you have to have these guys step up. And it shouldn't just be all on one guy. Right now, I think the only guy is Jordan Binnington.
Yeah.
Jordan Binnington is the reason that they've been able to keep any of these games close and able to come away with a win. But it shouldn't all be on him, is the thing. You can't go the rest of the season depending on Jordan Binnington to look at how he's performed early on this season. It does have to be Robert Thomas, Jordan Kyrou, Pavel Buchnevich, all these other guys, Brandon Saad stepping up. You need to have multiple 20-plus goal scorers this season, and it's kind of scary when you see what's happening right now. And Carrie, I know that you've talked about it, but you look at it, 20 shots on net last night. That is not going to do it. I know that Hellebuck was great. He had 18 saves, but really when you see it, he wasn't getting tested that much. And that's something that you're seeing consistently happen. And I do think that maybe some of this has to do with this whole new defensive system, and it can work, but the Blues simply just have to make more plays in the offensive end and get more zone time. And they even had more odd man rushes last night, but they weren't able to capitalize necessarily on those chances. So they are getting some good chances. They just aren't able to capitalize on it. You saw Jordan Kyrou with 2 breakaways last night.
Yeah.
And then he wasn't able to put the biscuit in the basket, I guess you could say there. And those were 2 huge opportunities, but he wasn't the only one that just got close but wasn't able to finish it.
And the captain, Braden Chen, was asked about the Blues' struggles in maintaining offensive zone possession time, eh?
It's a little bit of everything. It's not I wouldn't say battle level. It's just a commitment to supporting each other on the forecheck, turning over pucks, winning our battles, hunting pucks, and keeping it simple. Teams swarm and play hard defensively, and we just got to find ways to generate offensive zone time, and we haven't been able to do that through the first 5 games that much.
Love the captain speak. Can we hear it again? I'm just going to give you cliche, okay?
It's a little bit of everything. It's not I wouldn't say battle level. It's just a commitment to supporting each other on the forecheck, turning over pucks, winning our battles, hunting pucks, and keeping it simple. Teams swarm and play hard defensively, and we just got to find ways to generate offensive zone time, and we haven't been able to do that through the first 5 games that much.
7.
Your captain should be essentially the voice of the coach.
Yeah, so he's 7 cliches in 26 seconds.
When I was taught that you have to give them a sandwich. The bad, you give them the good, and then you finish it with the bad. Or is it the other way around? No, the other way around. Yeah. Good, bad, good, right? So we'll give them the good. They scored on the power play.
Yeah, okay.
If I got the first goal on the power play.
Let's do that, yeah. It's the old Tony La Russa pat and pop. Pat him on the back and then pop him in the gut.
Yeah, there you go. So scored on the power play. They don't look very good. When they get down, when this team gets down, it's a wrap. It feels like it's over. They don't feel like they have the confidence to dig out of the hole when they get down in the game.
Hey, guys, don't you wish the Arizona or the St. Louis Cardinals would go for it and spend so that they could have a guaranteed World Series team like the Arizona Diamondbacks did? Don't you just wish that the Cardinals could lock in and say, okay, we're going to sign a bunch of free agents, we're going to spend big money, we're going to have a huge payroll so that we can be just like the Diamondbacks?
I don't know that that's what they did.
Aren't the Diamondbacks like 21st in payroll this year?
They only won like 84 games this year.
They've won the most important 7 so
That's
far.
all that matters.
There you go.
They have. Last night, they clinched the National League pennant with a 4-2 win at Philadelphia. They win the last 2 at Philadelphia. It's a 2-1 game heading into the 5th inning. And here come the Diamondbacks. Rivera singles and then a bunt. A bunt in
What's
it.
that?
Yeah, so this is where you put the bat out in front of you and the ball just dies right in front of you.
Wow.
So
They
that
can
you
do
can,
that?
it's called a sacrifice. And you sacrifice yourself as a hitter, even
That's
though you only have
crazy.
27 outs.
But that means you don't get on base and don't
But
get
here's the
paid
thing,
at some
Carrie,
point.
but the other guy in front of you moves up into scoring position so that even though you made the out, you have a better opportunity to tie the game.
So it's actually about the team.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's a crazy concept. I know. I thought it was illegal at certain points this year.
It seems like it. So Rivera is at second base. Marte strikes out, and then the rookie steps in, Corbin Carroll.
Carroll up the middle and a base hit. Rivera around third. He will score the tying run. And Corbin Carroll, his 3rd hit of the game.
Carroll was not being retired by many. That was the point at which Rob Thompson, the Phillies manager, took out his starter, Ranger Suarez, and brought in Hoffman to pitch to Gabriel Moreno.
And Moreno into right field, a base hit. Here comes Carroll. Castellanos has a cannon. The throw is cut off. Carroll scores. Moreno in a rundown, a backhanded flip, and out at first. So the inning ends, but Moreno delivers the Diamondbacks in front.
Oh, by the way, Corbin Carroll was at second base because he ran really fast from first to second while the pitcher had the ball.
What's that called?
I think it's a stolen base.
You can steal.
What?
You can steal
a base
in baseball.
in the playoffs.
Stealing is illegal, Randy.
No, well, not in no. He wasn't called out for it. He got to second base, and then Moreno he got into scoring position at second base, and then he was able to make it home because we're willing to try to be aggressive. Matthew,
they stole one base across the first 5 games of the series. They stole 7 in games 6 and 7. And Torey Lovell came out and said, "We're going to get back on the base pass because that's what we did in the regular season." And what a novel concept that you take an aspect of the game that's been utilized for 100 years and you weaponize it.
Maddening.
Shocking.
It's amazing for the Diamondbacks, who tacked on a run in the 7th and held on to win it by a score of 4-2. So congratulations to all the Diamondbacks fans out there. Back in the World Series for the first time since 2001. Corbin Carroll had a pretty good series, named the National League Series MVP. And unfortunately for Philadelphia, they see their run go by the boards. Guys, in the last 3 years now, 21, 22, 23, the National League playoff team with the fewest wins has found itself in the World Series. 21 Braves, 22 Phillies, 23 Diamondbacks. That's why I said what I did at the beginning, because you might not agree when John Mozeliak and the Cardinals talk about the randomness of the postseason. But if you look at reality says the randomness of the postseason exists. And I don't know that we can give you any better evidence than 3 straight years where the National League team, the playoff team with the fewest wins, winds up in the World Series.
It is very random. There's really no way to predict this. And it's interesting that now you're going to have 2 very opposite teams in the way of how they spent and used their money. I mean, with the Diamondbacks, I believe like 21st in payroll this year. And then you have the Rangers that was like in the top 10, spent that much money. So you couldn't have 2 teams more on the opposite end of the spectrum of how they went about constructing their roster.
And the interesting thing about the Rangers is that the biggest expenditure isn't even helping them. He's on the shelf. It's Jacob deGrom. And yes, they did spend money on Eovaldi, and they spent a bunch of money on their middle infield. But then you look at the rest of their team, rookie in left field, youngster in center field, right field is a young player, third base is a young player, first base is a guy that you got from Tampa Bay, catcher is a guy who's been around and finally made a name for himself at the major league level. The bullpen is not extraordinarily expensive. You added Aroldis Chapman at the end, but the Texas team has the propensity, not the propensity, but the preponderance of their money tied up in players that aren't playing for them, which is pretty amazing.
The fact that the fact that the Arizona Diamondbacks were able to go back to Philadelphia in that environment and play in the way that they did is amazing. I don't know if anyone in this room projected them to be able to go back to Philly and win a game, let alone 2, and just finish the deal. And Rocc said it. They changed. They went back to doing what they did best all year, stealing bases and putting pressure on the opposing pitchers, making it tough for the Phillies to try to get them out. Just getting on base and making things happen, and then, like you said, sacrificing themselves for the team. Philadelphia, that surprised me how it all went down for them. I don't know how it went left so quickly. Aaron Nola didn't perform in his outing. Suarez, it wasn't great either. You know, it was okay, but it wasn't great, giving up runs early. It spiraled out of control. And then Bryce Harper didn't show up the last couple of games.
No, and yesterday Xavier Scruggs said, I think it's going to come down to the stars. Schwarber, Turner, Harper, and Castellanos for Philadelphia when it combined 1 for 15. The top 4 for Arizona, Marte, Carroll, Moreno, and Walker went 6 for 16 with all 4 of their RBIs. So if it does come down to your stars, now the stars on Philadelphia are more highly paid, but 1 for 16 versus 6 for 16.
Yeah, that's the thing. Your big
not gonna
bat's
win.
not going silent.
Yeah.
When the lights are brightest, you can't just shut down.
Don't we know it here in St. Louis,
Oh,
right?
yep.
Can't have your
You
big
gotta
guys.
show up.
Yep, your big guys got to show up. All right, we're off and running here on 101. NBA started. Did you, Matthew and Carrie, did you get much sleep last night?
I went to bed about midnight.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't stay up for the post-game show as much as I wanted to.
Suns beat the Warriors 108-104, and the Nuggets got their rings.
Good for
Stupid.
them.
Yeah, no, it's not good for them.
No. But they beat the Lakers.
They beat the Lakers 119-107. That's fine. But seeing the idiot get his ring, I was just wishing he would just slip and fall on the floor and hit his head.
Yeah, but did you see the most
man.
lovable person in basketball get his ring?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He just wants to hang out with his horses and embarrass the Los Angeles Lakers.
Jokic.
And he was a little done with horses last night.
Oh.
No, Brooke, you might have misconstrued what I said. I just wanted to see the toupee fly off.
Oh.
Yeah?
It's not real? No.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow. That's
I have a
shocking.
message from our
Couldn't
lawyers.
tell.
Good save, Randy.
Thank you. The alleged toupee fall off.
The alleged toupee.
Yeah. Hey, here we are now. We're coming up on, Halloween. World Series is here. It's late in the fall. We're going to have 40-degree high temperatures next week. So the times, they are a-changing, kids. And as it gets colder, our mindsets start to change. And you might be feeling, okay, I don't know what to do. Uncle Randy, can you help me out? Well, that's why Uncle Randy is here. And it is Wednesday. And I've got some advice for you. If you have a question, text in to the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. We have Ask Uncle Randy for you next on 101 ESPN. Do you use Metro? You might not, but you should know that Metro is important to the region. You always want to have good public transportation if you want to be a top flight region. And that's one of the things we have going for us here in St. Louis is that with the Metro system and Metro Link, we have great public transportation. So whether it's us as sports fans going to games or people getting to work, Metro is a great thing to have. Whether you live in Richmond Heights or Fairview Heights or Maryland Heights, ride on with Metro because it's vital to the viability to our region, not only to get people to and from work, but to attract more Fortune 500 companies. One of the things MLS wanted was a stadium that was close to public transportation, and that's one of the reasons that they awarded us a franchise. And if you think Metro isn't safe, all you have to do is do a little homework. It's easy to find out for yourself that Metro's way safer than you probably ever thought. If you don't use it, fine, but understand that people use it and love it, and it's great for St. Louis. It's Metro. In short, thanks to Metro, you don't have to drive to thrive.
question for Uncle Randy? Let him dive into his infinite well filled with wisdom to find you answers. Text 314-399-9646. It's Ask Uncle Randy on 101 ESPN.
I've been around, you know.
It is time for Ask Uncle Randy. Brooke is here. Carrie is here. I'm Randy. And Matthew will have your questions for us. Chris Convey is outside our door. I don't know why. I don't know why Chris Convey would even bother walking outside our door, because he's kind of a jerk at times. But
I don't think he
doesn't even see us.
No, he knows.
Hey, Chris.
He's kind of a funny guy. You hear him on another show, on the Courtney Show. Chris Convey, not a great guy. Not a great guy.
He didn't even see us. He didn't even look our way.
All right, what do we got on the old text line there, Matthew?
Randy, why are Philly fans historically so angry?
They've changed. No, they've turned over a new leaf. Now, they were angry before the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 2017.
Santa.
That was years ago.
They attacked Santa.
That was 1978.
That was years. That was a different generation.
Yeah, it was. That
This
was also the
generation
time.
raised the Trey Turner.
You know what doesn't get enough play is one time the football Cardinals went into the vet and beat the Eagles, and they were throwing lawn chairs at the football Cardinals.
Now that's nice.
They threw batteries at J.D. Drew. But they are a happier group now because they won, and they don't look at every single sporting event as an impending disaster. They had every right to before the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 2017. And by the way, they also played the most forgettable World Series in the history of World Series when they played Tampa Bay in the 2008 World Series in Philadelphia. That was all rainy and miserable. So I get it. I get where they came from, but now they aren't miserable and unhappy anymore. They're just going to turn their attention right from what happened with their baseball team to the Eagles, who are great, and the Philadelphia Union, who are great.
There you go.
There you go. You know that. They did not look very happy last night, though. A lot of boos at the end there.
Well, that happens. That's just, it's part of their DNA. I'm not disputing that, but they're a happier group now than they were.
Much.
I really hope the Union lose early.
Why?
Because I believe they're
too good.
I believe they're third in the Supporter Shield rankings above City, and I'm not trying to drive to Philly to watch the MLS Cup.
Yeah, I got you.
Dear Uncle Randy, I have a 25-year-old son who is grown now. He has his own apartment, but he's still over at the house a lot. Is it okay to drop hints that basically say, okay, you can go home now?
If you don't love him, if you don't want him around, that's okay. But just remember that the time that you have with your offspring is finite, and there will be a day where he'll have his own place, and he'll have his own wife, and he'll have his own kids, and you'll say, man, I wish I could see him. Wish I could talk to him.
Yeah.
Maybe go to a sporting event with him. So, yes, while it is okay to drop those hints, remember that you're not always going to have this opportunity to spend with your kids.
I think that if your son is 25 and still coming over and hanging out, you should be thankful for it.
I agree.
Because, once they get out of college or once they get of college age, they don't really hang out with the parents anymore.
Yeah, well, and
Too
once
cool for that.
Oh, yeah.
And especially once they find a spouse or a
significant other.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be embraced. Like 25 is that when that first age when you're like, oh, so the people you were when you raised me aren't who you are. Like that's your parent people, but then you have like real people who you are, and now I can get to know that person. That's when you first start realizing your parents are real people, and if you want to hang out with them, that's a really good thing. You shouldn't be rejecting that if you're a parent. Not a lot of parents get that.
No, I feel really lucky. Patrick and I, since 2010, so we're 13 years or so, and he's 29 now. We've gone to Arizona for spring training. He's a Giants fan, and last year I asked him, because he's bought a house, he's got a girlfriend and everything. I said, hey, if you don't want to go anymore, that's fine. He said, no, I want to go. So that's cool. So we're still going to go.
Dear Uncle Randy, my wife's 40th birthday is coming up January 7th of next year. We always celebrate each other's birthdays in a pretty big fashion. However, considering her birthday is just 2 weeks after Christmas, should I tell her that I'm not getting her anything for Christmas so I can use that money for a big 40th birthday celebration?
No.
Or should I split it up between the two? FYI, I'm not a rich man, and we do have 4 kids.
You split it up between the two. No, you don't ignore part of it. And you try to make number 40 as special as you can. And with 4 kids, I think that a mother of 40 is really going to appreciate doing priceless things for her 40th birthday. And that's, make it a Mama Palooza for the weekend. Have the kids make breakfast in bed for her, clean up the house, do things that she does for you every single day, and get them done so that she doesn't have to do them. And then you don't have to splurge as much. And you can split the money up that way and get her something really nice, obviously. But I have a feeling that she, at this age and with her station in life, is going to appreciate things that alleviate the workload on her.
Yes.
I agree. I think that sometimes it's not about spending a lot of money. It's just more doing some of those gestures to show that you're paying attention, that that you care. As you mentioned, just even like getting up and making breakfast for her and just having a nice layout. Those are things that aren't necessarily expensive, but shows that you're just taking the time to pay attention to her.
Yeah.
Uncle Randy, I'm looking to buy a new 56-degree wedge, but is there really a noticeable difference for the average golfer between one that's $150 and one that's around $100? Thanks, as this may be what finally brings me that Sea Flight Championship.
Okay, the Sea Flight Championship is important.
Yes, it is.
And I need to tell you this because I got a very nice set of Callaway Jaws wedges, okay? 54 and 60. But my swing really wasn't conducive out of the rough to those. So I got the exact same degree Cleveland wedges, and my short game has changed dramatically. Am I great? No. But has it improved me from woefully mediocre to mediocre? It has improved me. So, yes, I would suggest that if you go to Golf Discount in O'Fallon or in South County and you have them work with you, they can figure out your swing and they can figure out what the perfect wedge for you will be. I was stunned that it made such a difference. So, yes, I would suggest making that move. It will get you up to Sea Flight.
I've been told by the person who critiques my golf game very stringently that, and this is my advice to this guy would be, maybe you just go for the nicest sand wedge you possibly can, because apparently I'm not even supposed to use my actual 56-degree wedges and stuff like that, because that's what good golfers use to chip, and bad golfers should just live with the sand wedge for pretty much every shot close to the green.
But here's the thing, Matthew. I think if you invest in those wedges, you're more inclined, to play better with them, but practice with them. And it's all about practice. So, yes, I think that investing in the new club is always a positive. 100% of the time. Investing in the new club is always a positive.
Dear Uncle Randy and the gang, my future in-laws treat every holiday, birthday, anniversary like it needs to be an over-the-top celebration and regale you to the point of being ridiculous. How do I basically tell them no one cares and they need to grow up? I like this guy. I like this guy. I like the cut of this guy's jib.
Can I hear the beginning of this again? Okay.
Sure. Dear Uncle Randy and gang, my future in-laws treat every holiday, birthday, and anniversary like it needs to be an over-the-top celebration and regalia. It's a weird formation of words, to the point of being ridiculous.
Okay.
How do I basically tell them that no one cares and they need to grow up?
Well, clearly they care, and there's nothing wrong with enjoying the celebration. However, why they want to celebrate your anniversary is beyond me. I don't get it. But I don't think you need to tell them. There's nothing wrong with a party, right? And that's what they're doing, is they're throwing parties. You guys have a problem with parties?
No, I love parties.
I don't have a problem with it. I think that if you're not accustomed to a family that celebrates each other as much as it sounds like this family does, it may take some getting used to. And maybe you never get used to it. Maybe you don't go to every single event. Maybe you pick the big ones or the ones that are meaningful to you. And you say, hey, hon, I'm not feeling good today. I'm going to sit this one out. And compromise. That's what being married is. It's compromising. You shouldn't be forced to go to every single one of them if you don't feel like it. And you shouldn't sit out of every one of them if your wife doesn't, want you to be a part of it.
Just pick your spots. Yeah. Like, if you don't want to go to one during the World, well, normally a party isn't going to be held at night. See, that was one of the things back in my day, when they would have World Series games during the day.
What if these events are taking place on Sundays? And
yeah, you have to pick your spots.
Hey, you got a big game.
Even a Super Bowl party, right? Because some people prefer just to watch the Super Bowl and not be bothered by but intruded upon by other people. Yeah.
Bothered.
Well, especially for you, like, right? Because you played in it. So people are coming up to you and saying,
what happened here?
Two things are, Carrie, what do you think? Or I'm sure that what's worse is, here's what they should have done. So they come up to a Super Bowl champion during the Super Bowl and say, here's what they should have done.
I'm like, yeah, you spot on there, brother.
It's like when somebody
Exactly
talks through a movie where it's just like, oh, it's almost like that, I'm sure, if you're watching a game. The social events, I get it. It's fun to celebrate a lot of different things, but I do understand maybe it being a little too overwhelming. My dad was fantastic at dodging social events because my mom's side of the family would always have all these different types of gatherings. My dad's not that social of a person, and so he would always pick up an extra shift conveniently during those social events, or need to get to work, in air quotes, aka go watch a game.
Smart. I like your dad. I like his way of thinking. Matthew, you want to do one more? We're good? Okay, we're good. We hope you enjoyed the advice. Coming up, Doug Armstrong was a GM for the Blues 1,000th time last night. What have been the highlights and lowlights of his regime? That's next on 101 ESPN.
Janie Welch from Xenia, Illinois. Congratulations.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Last night, the Blues fall to the Winnipeg Jets 4-2 in their first of a 4-game road trip. Game number 2 on that road trip is Thursday evening. It's an 8 p.m. puck drop as they face off against the Calgary Flames. And last night in Major League Baseball playoffs, the other ticket to the World Series was punched by the unlikely Arizona Diamondbacks with a 4-2 victory over the Philadelphia Phillies. The World Series starts on Friday evening. And last night in opening night of the NBA, the Warriors fall to the Suns late 108-104, while the Nuggets beat up on the Lakers 119-107. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
A team that was in last place on January 3rd. The players on the bench are bouncing up. History will be made tonight in Boston. 15 seconds to go as Shen blocks a puck to the corner. 10 seconds remaining. Get up, St. Louis. Get on your feet. Raise them high. 5 seconds to go, and the time winds down. They did it. It's over. The game is over. The series is over. The wait is over. And the St. Louis Blues are the Stanley Cup champions for the first time in franchise history.
The 2019 St. Louis Blues Stanley Cup champions, a team that was put together by Blues President of Hockey Operations and General Manager Doug Armstrong, who last night GM'd the Blues for the 1,000th game in his career. Only a dozen NHL general managers have ever done that. And guys, there's a couple of things about Doug Armstrong that I really appreciate. Number one, we all like to win trades, and you don't win every trade, but he wins a lot of trades. But you look at Chicago, having missed the playoffs now for 5 or 6 consecutive years. You look at, after winning 3 Stanley Cups, admittedly, you look at the Kings, who, after winning a couple of Stanley Cups in 3 years, have missed the playoffs now in 5 out of the last 9 seasons. The Blues have been able to maintain under Doug Armstrong. They've been to the playoffs 10 out of 12 years. For me, the most impressive thing that he's done is, over the course of those dozen years, while Chicago had to see that Taves and Kane and Keith and Seabrook and that nucleus be torn apart, and they have to build a whole new one and miss the playoffs a lot. The Blues haven't had to do that. The Kings have had the same thing. They've had to watch players depart, or they watch their nucleus get old. In Doug Armstrong's career, when he started, the Blues nucleus, I think we could all argue, was Backes, Oshie, Berglund, Steen, and Perron. He transforms that group to Schwartz, Tarasenko, Petro, Bo, and Stastny. And then when Stastny leaves, he goes out and he makes the trades for O'Reilly and Shen. So he's got O'Reilly and Shen and Perron again, and adds people like Sundqvist and Parayko. And now they're transforming into a 4th different nucleus under Doug Armstrong with Thomas and Kyrou and Buchnevich and Falk. Now, those are just the nucleuses, and there have been a lot of parts that were there for multiple nucleuses. But my point is that the Blues have been able to maintain a level of competitiveness despite changing players, which tells you about the eye for talent that Doug Armstrong possesses.
Yeah, I think my biggest one for me, and this is going to be obviously a little bit more recent, but the whole lopsided trade getting Pavel Buchnevich, that one was huge. That was a fleece job by Doug Armstrong, that you were able to basically trade away Sammy Blais, who we now know is back here in St. Louis. And things didn't work out with Sammy Blais with the Rangers. And I was able to talk with him about that. If you saw this past weekend on the 101 on Sports, I had an interview with Sammy Blais and Marco Scandella, and he talked about how hard his time was with the Rangers. He was battling an injury, obviously didn't score there. Things did not work out well there, but he was so anxious to get back here in St. Louis. And when we saw him when he came back in February earlier this year, he was able to get back to, I felt like, the Sammy Blais that the Rangers were hoping that they were getting in that trade. But what Pavel Buchnevich has brought to this team, I mean, that is a huge trade that has really panned out well for the Blues and will pan out well for the Blues.
But what about this one? What about trading a guy who was sentenced to prison for 4 months for buying drugs and was overpaid? You'd given him a bad contract. So we'll admit that Armstrong gave Jori Lehtera a bad contract.
Yes.
But you trade a guy who's convicted of drug offenses in Finland for the guy that's your captain now.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, that's a really, really good one.
Yeah, you always trade the in-jail guy. You don't want to trade for the in-jail guy. You want to trade the in-jail guy.
That's the best way to do about it, Randy. The guy that is in jail currently, not the guy. You don't want that guy off your team, not coming to you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that, he's done a good job of making some trades. You're looking at some of the core guys that he has signed since he's been here. They're all big parts of what they're doing right now. And the trades have been a great part of it. Brooke, the Buchnevich trade obviously has been stellar. If Buchnevich can stay healthy. We see glimpses of it when he's healthy. He's spectacular, but staying healthy obviously is one of the main components of that. We were talking about some of the wins that he's had and then maybe some of the losses that he's had. And I think the jury may still be out on the contracts that were given up the last couple of years to Kyrou and Thomas. We're still waiting. I mean, you don't know just yet if those contracts are going to be worth it. You hope that they are. I think they have. And I think Robert Thomas is a hell of a player. I think Jordan Kyrou is a hell of a player. But I think those guys are still figuring out who they are on this team. And I think that that's part of there are no more Ryan O'Reillys. There is no more Tarasenko's. You are supposed to be those guys. So I think the contracts can be really good in the long run, but I don't think it's great right now because they still haven't figured out who they are on this team.
And it's going to take time. I mean, it was getting to a point, too, when you're talking about, Randy, the nucleus that they're building here, there was definitely a point of where you had the aging players who are in their mid-30s, like a Pietrangelo and David Perron. Having to walk away from Alex Pietrangelo still is one that really haunts me personally. I do understand that there was a lot that was going on between those negotiations and the age, and the thing that specifically Pietrangelo was looking for is something that Army was not willing to budge on. And Perron, that was another tough loss because that was somebody who was very well respected in so many aspects of the Blues game, but also in that locker room. So those are two big voices that you lose. And those are hard to move away from, but at the same time, with whatever's going to happen with the cap space, that was a big question with Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou, and locking in those young players, that's something that you essentially had to do. Now, was I surprised that they essentially both got the same contract? A little bit, yes. But I think that it is going to take some time for that contract for Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou to pan out. And I think it will. It will just take a little bit.
I'm with you in that I bet you in his heart of hearts, if you're in a private moment with Army, he would say the one he would like back is Petro. Because all he had to say when Petro asked for the no movement clause, and he was worried about other players coming and asking for a no movement clause, all he had to say to that player's representative was, when your player hoists the Stanley Cup for the first time in the franchise history, then we'll give him a no movement clause too. There was one thing that Petro had that nobody else had. A lot of people don't like the Ryan Miller trade, which actually wound up being okay because they got rid of the Chris Stewart contract. They wound up giving up a first-round pick for, it wound up being Jack Roslovic, who played a little in the NHL. They gave up a third-rounder who wound up being a guy who never played in the NHL. William Carrier, who's had an okay career with Vegas. Yaroslav Halak, who wasn't coming back, and Chris Stewart for Ryan Miller. And Miller blew up in the 14 playoffs, but there's two things about it. Number one, Army was going for it. I think we all like aggressive general managers. And when it didn't work out, he was able to spend that money that he had saved because of the Chris Stewart contract and Miller not staying, and sign Paul Stastny. That didn't work out. The other one that a lot of people don't like is trading T.J. Oshie for Troy Brouwer. There were a couple of things. Number one, Oshie was pretty public about his disdain for Ken Hitchcock at the time. Oshie had not been the player that he became once he had Nicholas Backstrom as his center. And if the Blues don't trade Oshie, then they have to make a decision financially either way anyway, between keeping Oshie for nothing or losing Vladimir Tarasenko. After they signed Oshie, 2 days after they traded Oshie, to Washington, then they signed Vladimir Tarasenko, and that was the choice they made, and Vladimir Tarasenko wound up being a key to their Stanley Cup championship.
I mean, that's important. You never want to see guys walk away. You never want to see guys leave and go have success elsewhere, or, guys that are a part of what you've done. But you do have tough decisions. You got guys that you want to sign, want to keep. They had a tough decision last year with O'Reilly and Tarasenko. You have to make those decisions, and you hope, just like when we watch the Cardinals, you hope that the trades they make don't come back and bite you in the butt. The Cardinals have had a few guys traded away that you wish were on this roster now. But all in all, in order to be able to have success, you have to pick the guys that you think are going to be core players going forward and be willing to sign them and stick with them and trust that they'll come around and be the players that you signed them to be.
And in 1,000 games, Army has been decidedly on the side of yes. You put a lot more pluses in the plus column than minuses in the minus column for Doug Armstrong.
Yes, 100%. Even that Ryan O'Reilly trade to get him here to St. Louis. Every once in a while, I see some people bring up, oh, look at what Tage Thompson's doing. And I'm like, why in the world would you ever want to go back in time and say, no, we're not going to get Ryan O'Reilly here. Ryan O'Reilly was a huge reason that you were able to win the Stanley Cup. I still see some people with some FOMO on that. But I just don't get it. I think Ryan O'Reilly, bringing him here, that was one of my top trades that he made.
If Tage Thompson is your number one center in 2018, 2019, you don't win the Stanley Cup.
No.
I will trade anybody for a Stanley Cup championship. Anybody.
Does Patrick Maroon fit on that list at any point anywhere? He goes and wins a couple more championships after
that was a surprise.
Yeah.
I think that was.
Is he on that list of? He only signed in Tampa Bay for $900,000.
Right.
Is that a name that you look at and say maybe we could have kept him around and kind of kept
easy 2020 hindsight play, but he hadn't been that great. The Blues almost released him during that season, and they thought Robbie Fabry was going to wind up being a good player. They wound up spending the money on Fabry rather than Maroon. Yeah. I didn't have any problem with that, and I'm not a 2020. Well, if you want to go 2020 hindsight, you say you keep Maroon around, but they thought that Fabry was going to be a regular 25-goal scorer, and it just didn't turn out that way because of his injuries and his immaturity.
Yeah.
Well, the immaturity you would know. So that is
but you hope the guy grows up. Ryan O'Reilly was not the most mature guy in Colorado.
It depends on the age and the environment.
Yeah.
And you have to know your room, your clubhouse, your locker room, your dressing room. You have to know who's in there.
Well, and not just.
And you got to know who he's going to be hanging with and where he's going to be going.
That's the thing. It was more an issue outside the building, I think, than inside the building.
Yeah,
guys grow up.
They should know all of that.
They do.
They usually do.
Yeah. It is the opening drive on 101 ESPN, so congratulations to Army, 1,000 games as the GM of the St. Louis Blues. Coming up, get your text into the Air Comfort Service. Text line 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. Get your take it or leave it into us here at 101 ESPN.
it, you can take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your take it or leave it.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
All right, we're ready for Tioli, and you can text us now, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. Don't forget to watch us on our Air Alliance studio cams. Just go to YouTube and search us out at 101 ESPN STL, and don't forget to subscribe to 101 ESPN. All right, kids, the Arizona Diamondbacks starting rotation, the National League champion Arizona Diamondbacks starting rotation, is Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, Brandon Pfaadt, Ryan Nelson, and Tommy Henry, none of whom are high-priced free agents. Take it or leave it. The success of the Diamondbacks influences the Cardinals, and they don't sign a single starting pitcher.
Oh, my God. Brandy.
No.
Come on.
No.
They told us they were going to get 3 starters.
They told us they were going to increase payroll.
Who is going to be okay? So who is?
I gotta leave it too.
Who's going to be your ace next season?
Miles Michaelis.
Really? And then who's your number 2?
Steven Matz.
3?
Zach Thompson.
4?
Matthew Liberatore.
5?
Dakota Hudson.
No, Tekoa Roby.
Tekoa Roby.
Oh.
Where's Dakota?
Yep. Dakota's in the bullpen waiting to be the number 6. He is. Don't forget we have CD-ROM down there, too. Just saying.
Who's going to be the thought of the team?
That will be Gordon Graceffo. The hot prospect. Gordon Graceffo will be the hot prospect.
You know what, Randy? Actually, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it.
I'm going to leave it.
I can see it happening.
You have to leave it. You have to leave it.
No.
There's no way.
Nope.
You should be Cardinals. Pay attention to what the Rangers did. Spend money wisely, please.
Nope, I'm taking it. They're going to stand pat and just go with what they got. We got guys here. We got guys.
Take it or leave it. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm putting it out there in the universe. Take it or leave it. If the Cardinals sign Aaron Nola for 8 years and $231 million, he has Tommy John next year.
Oh,
Randy,
don't you put that out in the universe. Don't put it out in the universe.
Jacob DeGrom.
I'm leaving
I'm going to have to leave it.
I'm going to leave that. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to leave it.
Leave it. You can't say that.
I
That's
just
a curse. That's a curse.
I know it is.
So as we know, Magic Johnson has become one of the owners, part of the ownership group in Washington, and he's been kind of outspoken about the Commanders' play as of late. Take it or leave it. Ron Rivera doesn't make it to the end of the season.
I'll take that.
I'm going to take that.
Especially with Jack Del Rio as their defensive coordinator.
I think he's going to.
Do you?
Yeah.
I think they need to have a head coach, though, an interim, right?
Hey. Maybe but at the end of the season, they'll all unfortunately,
be
Eric Bieniemy going to get caught up in that as well.
You're right. Unless they make him
I
head
don't
coach.
think they will.
I'm going to have to take that. It's not good there. So Mad Dog said on the radio that if the Diamondbacks won Game 6 and 7 of the NLCS and advanced the World Series, that he would retire. Take it or leave it, guys. He's not going to retire. He's got to find some way else around it. But how do you?
Yeah, you just don't. You don't worry about it.
Or does he retire? Does he just say, nah, that's it?
Nope. Just keep doing your job. Pretend like you never said it. I said it.
I don't know if you can shake that one off because it was talked about a million different times.
I blame the Phillies for this. This is not my fault. He's going to go on a rampage about how the Phillies did this and he had no doing in it.
Okay, here it is. So we'll find out right now whether or not this sounds legit.
I've been wrong in Arizona from day one. I'm stunned they beat Milwaukee. I thought they'd get swept by the Dodgers. I never thought they'd even go back to Philly for a Game 6. I'll try it one more time. I would not be stunned if they won tonight. I would be floored. And I'll say this right now. I'll say this right now. And Bob Raceman, write it down. If they win the next 2 days, they win the next 2 games and win this series in 7 games, if they win, I will retire on the spot.
Okay.
That sounds. He didn't
on
even.
the spot.
There's no loopholes there.
There isn't. No.
He posted after the loss, he's standing by his words. I don't know if you saw that.
Okay, I like this. Okay, yeah. I want to see it happen. I'm going to leave
Were
it.
his fingers crossed?
Probably. I'm going to leave it. Yeah.
He's like, well, you didn't see it. It wasn't in the camera shot, but my fingers were crossed.
Yeah, he's lucky he didn't put a bunch down on FanDuel, right?
Ooh.
Or DraftKings or
I wonder
whatever.
how those people are doing that did that.
Yeah. Yikes. Well, the guy that, the furniture guy in Houston lost like $8 million, right?
Yes.
So Mattress.
Oh, Mattress Matt. Yeah. He we don't talk about him.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, Matthew, what do we got on the text line there?
Take it or leave it. If you're City, you want to play Sporting Kansas in the playoffs.
Take it.
Take it.
Is that game tonight?
That game is, in fact, tonight. Kansas and
San
Jose from the great Plains state of Kansas for that game.
We just keep calling them Sporting Kansas. I think that's awesome.
That's what they are, right?
They are.
That's what they are. That's
I
what
don't
they
know
are.
anything else about
City
it.
call them Kansas. We call them Kansas. Yeah. What do you want from me?
We don't call like KU Kansas City University.
We do not.
You're darn right.
We should.
They're in Kansas.
No, we shouldn't.
Kansas.
No, we shouldn't.
Call them Lawrence. Oh, you don't want to talk about it. I'm still disappointed that Mizzou had a whole song about KU and they weren't even playing them.
Yeah. You know what, though? Here's the
tradition.
CD, here's a
weird. It's called living in your head rent-free is what it's called.
It's called a rivalry.
The problem with calling it Lawrence is that then theoretically you'd have to call Mizzou Columbia, and you've already got a Columbia, and you don't want that confusion.
Okay.
Yeah, but Lawrence, when you say Lawrence, you just get the visual of that really tall hill and the cow on top of it, and it just really paints the picture.
I think of Larry, or I think of Phillips.
Lawrence Phillips.
Yeah.
Lawrence.
Take it or leave it. The Ravens, with their defense, make them the team to beat in the playoffs.
I was actually going to have the Ravens as a take it or leave it. I was going to say that they may actually be the class of the AFC.
And then Kylie just shot up, his ears just perked up somewhere in St. Louis.
Yeah, I think they are. I think they are a really good team, and if they catch the football offensively, they can be a really dangerous team. So, yeah.
I'll take it too. I just, first of all, they're loaded. They have a ton of good players, and they really easily could be undefeated. And on both sides of the ball, their defense is great. They're second in the league in defense, and offensively, they're ascending, and they have the most, all due respect to what Patrick Mahomes, but in terms of complete dynamicism.
Ooh.
Is that a word?
Dynamism?
Dynamism? Whatever. Nobody is more dynamic in the league than Lamar Jackson is.
Okay, I'm going to
Whom I traded, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. Just trying to shake things up.
Oh, okay.
Trade for trade's sake.
Need some different in the locker room. Yeah, need some different in the locker room. Take it or leave it. Today is the day that Mizzou football advances. Ryan Wingo announces later today.
Oh, take it.
I'm
you know what? I think it would be a really good deal if he decides to go to Mizzou.
Ryan Wingo.
I can't clap for that. We may have to play them in a couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Oh, not you, Illinois, but you, Hazel Central.
Got to take care of our business.
Got it.
But, you know.
By the way, our friend Cody Schrader, running back at the University of Missouri, is going to be, during this bye week, over at the Fenton Bar and Grill on Friday at 6 o'clock. So if you want to meet Cody and talk a little Mizzou with him, he'll be at the Fenton Bar and Grill on Friday at 6 p.m.
Very nice.
MIZ. COU.
Making use of that bye week. Good for Mizzou. Getting Cody out to.
Oh, well, no, it's not Mizzou. That's called NIL.
Oh, yes. That's
NIL.
That's what it is. Yeah. My bad. I forgot what moves actually moves things nowadays. Yeah. Take it or leave it. People who switch lanes back and forth think they're actually making progress.
True. I'll take it. 100%, yeah.
I don't understand that.
You know what I love to do, though, is get up like when they get off on a ramp and I get off on the same ramp and get next to them, just honk and wave.
I don't get that, especially the ones who are very aggressive about it and they keep switching back and forth. You're just watching them like, do you not see what's ahead of you?
They don't care.
In traffic?
It's some people are strange. Let's just admit it. We live in a world, in a country where people are strange. And they do strange things, and they are the only people in that world in their minds.
I think that's really what it is.
Yeah, they don't care about anything.
It's the same thing like when you're at a grocery store and somebody has their cart and they just get right in front of you when you're about to grab something. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yep, I hate it.
I'm like, okay.
And you know what? We're not in a position with what we do for a living to be jerks about it either. You know, we can't. Well,
I don't really have to be a jerk. I don't run into those situations.
That's good.
Yeah. I don't know why that is.
Matthew, do you have one more fun one? Your smile tells me that you have one more fun one here.
Yes, I do. Take it or leave it. If Brandon is Brandon Fod, then isn't Brandon Sod?
Yes. This is take it. Yeah, we got to take it.
I'll take
We
that.
got to take that.
Yep.
I agree.
Okay. Good.
I really
It
agree
is
with
Brandon
that.
Sod.
Good call. That is Take It or Leave It on 101 ESPN. Thank you very much for your texts. Hey, which former Cardinal in the postseason, and this is the entire baseball postseason, bothers you the most? There are a few out there. That's next on 101 ESPN.
On the day's top stories, it's the Opening Drive's Fresh Take.
And he struck him out with an off-speed curve away. What a performance by Jordan Montgomery.
Garcia gets up on top of that ball, hammers it to left field. What a swing! It's gone!
And Pham sends one deep into left field, and that one's gonna fly.
Okay, you've got a few former Cardinals in the World Series. You've got Tommy Pham for the Arizona Diamondbacks, along with their starting pitcher, Zach Gallen. You've got Adolis Garcia, who was the American League Championship Series MVP, along with Jordan Montgomery and Chris Stratton. But the postseason in baseball has been dotted with former Cardinals. And we want you to weigh in here via the text line. If you want to send us a mic drop, you can do that too. But so you've had Skip Schumacher with Miami, and you've had Sandy Alcantara, who didn't pitch, but was still a member of a postseason team. You've had Zach Gallen, Pham, Garcia, Stratton, Montgomery. Randy Arozarena was on a postseason team. Genesis Cabrera, who I think the final numbers were he threw scoreless outings in 24 of 26 of his appearances with Toronto. George Hicks, Mike Maddox, pitching coach for the American League champion Texas Rangers. Of the play, and that's not everybody either. Of the players or coaches or manager that participated in the postseason that used to wear the birds on the bat, which one or ones bother you the most? You know what it is for me? And it's kind of weird. I think it's Skip Schumacher.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because he's old school and he understands. I think he did well with Miami what the Cardinals didn't do well last year, and that is implement fundamentals and get players to play better. And everywhere he's gone, whether it was San Diego as a coach, whether it was here as a coach, and now Miami, he has gotten players to play at a higher level. And whether that is as a bench coach or as a manager, just as in terms of having a member of the organization, that's the one I miss the most.
That one doesn't bother me as much because he got an opportunity to be a manager. Mm-hmm. And so he wasn't going to be, Ali was the manager here. So he wasn't going to replace Ali after 1 year. So that one, you're excited for a guy that gets an opportunity to be the leader of his own program and running in the way he sees fit. So I didn't have a problem with that. For me, it hurts much more because it's more recent. It's going to be Jordan Montgomery. It was going to be Adolis Garcia, but he hasn't been here in so long. So whatever. But Jordan Montgomery was here last year. He was a key component in winning that series the other night, pitching, 3 innings, 4 innings, coming in relief. Yeah. And really one of the names, when they were talking about the names of the players of the Rangers that were crucial for them to have success in this postseason, they said Adolis Garcia, they said Max Scherzer, and they said Jordan Montgomery. Like that name, along with the other names, that should bother the hell out of you as a Cardinal fan, because you need pitching and you have a starting pitcher that was on your team on opening day that is playing in the World Series for another team.
Arguably the number one pitcher for the American League champions. I guess Evaldi. Evaldi was the other day. That should bother the hell out of you if you are a Cardinals fan, because he should have been re-signed when Michaelis got re-signed. He should have been re-signed when he wasn't performing particularly well and it wasn't looking great for him, because his track record. You may have been able to get something a little bit less out of him, less money spent than if you would have waited. Now, you're not going to get a chance to re-sign him in the offseason because he's going to cost too much.
Jordan Montgomery, I think that it is painful in that way when you're talking about, he made it clear during spring training that he was open to discussions, and it seemed like that never happened. Now, he is a Scott Boras client, so he would probably have likely fell out free agency anyways. But if anything, I think for Jordan Montgomery, if I'm the Yankees, I feel really stupid about that. Cashman should feel really silly, probably the most, even more so than the Cardinals, seeing him go on and be this successful, be the guy for the Rangers during this postseason. They have to feel really silly about that. It looks worse to me on the Yankees because they let him go to St. Louis and then St. Louis to the Rangers.
Get him back.
and they might get him back. Well, supposedly the door's still open for him and the Cardinals too, but I don't know. I think that door is closed. Mine is going to be, and I kept going back and forth with this about if it was going to be Randy Arozarena or Adolis Garcia, because they're both very similar situations, right? Very limited opportunities in St. Louis at the big league club, doing well, performing well in the minor league system, but then not given much of a chance at the major league level. I think Adolis Garcia, to me, right now, and this is going to be complete recency bias, seeing him perform at this level and be a superstar is probably the most painful for me. Because if you really look at things for him, we talked about a very limited playing time with the Cardinals, but he was doing well in the minor league system. And to just move on from that way, I know that the Rangers also DFA'd him, so you could argue, and that's something that a point that has been brought up many times, that essentially the other teams didn't see this as what he was capable of as well. But it seems like things really took off for him after that. I mean, 2 All-Star nods for him, and the way that he has just really broke out in this way during the playoffs, he is the guy for the Rangers when it comes to being a really big piece and heartbeat of the offense.
So we've got some interesting choices here. And it seems like the overwhelming majority on the text line is saying Jordan Montgomery. We did get this one from the 314. Every team in the league had former players in the playoffs. Well,
did every team in the league have this many former players in the playoffs? Not just former players, playing a significant role.
Yeah, right. That's
the key part. It's not just every team does have former players. They might be the last guy on the bench. They may have been DFA'd at one point during the season or whatever the case may be. This team has a lot of players that are contributing on other rosters and having great success.
And what do the Cardinals need most? What do they say they're going to go out and get this offseason?
Pitching.
So we're talking about Montgomery, we're talking about Gallen, we're talking about Alcantara. I mean, those guys are pretty good. Those are pretty good.
And the trade for Marcell Ozuna at the time, it made sense. And he wasn't terrible. It's just not the same performance that you were hoping that he would have in Miami. It didn't translate here to St. Louis. He was a slightly above average hitter. And then we saw some of the defensive mistakes that are just,
fun.
etched.
They're fun memories.
I don't know if it's fun memories. Like
Spider-Man?
That was fun for me. Watching that man climb a wall and the ball falls 20 feet short.
It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
How did he win a Gold Glove?
When I saw that, I said, what the hell was going on here?
And he had some injuries. Now, we are getting some texts, and I've seen this several times, where people are bringing up Mike Maddox.
I brought up Mike Maddox, and I think that's a good call. Because he made pitchers better, and he has, in Texas, made pitchers better. Throughout his career, he's made pitchers better, and I thought it was interesting when Jordan Montgomery got traded over there, he said he wanted to get back with Mike Maddox. I think that's a really good call. And by the way, I'm not talking about return here. I'm just talking about the player himself. Okay, don't worry about what the return was. We'll get into this a little bit more later. But who bothers you the most that is on another team that you say, okay, I wish that guy was on my team right now, leaving return out of it. So Montgomery is legit. We can say all we want that, okay, he wasn't going to re-sign with the Cardinals. No, who's the person that bothers you the most that they're performing well for another team? That is today's Fresh Take on 101 ESPN. Next up, the latest on Yadi or Molina perhaps being a member of the Cardinal coaching staff, coming your way on 101 ESPN. Hey, kids, I got some bad news for you. Next Monday, it's supposed to be 32 degrees for a low in St. Louis. Next Tuesday, 28 degrees. Next Wednesday, 25 degrees for a low. Why do I give you this bad news? Because it could be even worse if your furnace conks out. That's why you need to get in touch with my friends at Hoffman Brothers at 314-664-3011 or go to Hoffman Bros, Hoffmann, hoffmanbros.com and get your furnace checked. They do it for us every year, and we're part of their performance plan, and you should check it out as well. They're an incredible Mitsubishi Electric Elite contractor. And what they're going to do at Hoffman Brothers is come out. Really nice people are going to check out your furnace, make sure you're good to go for the winter, and if you aren't, provide you with the opportunity to repair or replace. They do it in a classy manner. They care about you and your comfort and your trust, and we've used them at the Carricker household for years, and you'll love the people at Hoffman Brothers. Safety is a huge priority. Comfort is a huge priority. Call today to schedule your heating system maintenance because it's going to get cold next week, or join their home protection plan for as little as $34 a month. Visit hoffmanbros.com or call 314-664-3011. The Yadi-to-STL situation continues to bubble, and the Cardinals haven't announced anything. As a matter of fact, Yadi is telling people 90%, but it's not 100% yet, that he will be a member of the Cardinal organization. Brooke, Carey, and Randy. And one of the things I wonder, and I don't think it's unfair to wonder, is what role he would desire to serve. There might be differences between the Cardinals and what they want him to do and what Yadi actually wants to do. But the latest is Luis Nola, our friend from the Big 550 KTRS, speaks fluent Spanish, and he was asked about his future as a coach in MLB, and Luis tweeted, "There is something cooking. I've had various offers in the United States, last year with Miami and St. Louis. This year I have offers too. I think there is something cooking with St. Louis. There is a 90% chance that it happens." He said, "I'm passionate about it. To have an opportunity like that, I cannot pass." So that's where we are right now, but nothing in regards to what the role would be. What do you guys, and we've all read about it, what do you think the ultimate role would be? Would it be bench coach?
I think it would be bench coach, but also a little bit of everything coach, because that's, if Yadi's coming into your organization, I think that he will be a part of everything. I even mentioned pitching coach before, because we've seen that before where a catcher can be a fantastic pitching coach. You've seen with Dave Duncan, but I think that with him being a bench coach, it would be like having another manager essentially right there. I don't think that he would just be doing one thing. I think he would be helping multiple things, helping Wilson Contreras and getting the most out of that contract, which is what you should be doing, making him as valuable as you can, making him be a better catcher. And I think that obviously Yadier Molina, the way that he works with pitchers specifically, I think that's why the Cardinals pitchers have been so spoiled over the years, is because they could rely on Yadier Molina to really help them through a lot of different different situations.
I think I agree. I mean, I was listening to BT yesterday, and he was saying that it's probably like a catch-all type of coach. Does a little bit of everything, creating a new position for him, because you would, if he's bench coach, then where's Joe McEwing? Is he one of the parties that are rehomed? I don't know that this team necessarily wants to fire anyone or move on from anyone because they haven't done it. And if you played that poorly, 20 games under 500 and you didn't fire anyone immediately after the season, you're probably not going to fire anyone. And, hopefully they get an opportunity next year to correct it, which would mean that Yadi would potentially be coming in maybe a liaison type of role, something where he is a consultant of sorts on the bench, helping out in whatever capacity is needed in that moment. And, an ear that people can talk to and a voice that people will listen to.
One of the things Katie Wu wrote in her piece last week is that the Cardinals have a smaller coaching staff than most major league teams right now, that there aren't enough coaches to go around. One of the advantages that I could see with Yadi being on the coaching staff rather than the manager is that time that is spent with the media, which is extraordinary. I would guess that, Brooke, what do you think, that Ali spends 45 minutes with the media before every game? Maybe because
it's very unique. So this is something, at least during my time here in St. Louis, that this is the first time I experienced a manager kind of holding media sessions in this way. Typically, the managers would just have one big group media session. Ollie prefers to have his broken down. So where he has the rights holders first, so that would be Bally, and then obviously KMOX. And then he goes to writers, which that takes an eternity. Sometimes I don't know. Nothing against the writers, but being in those sessions, the writers have a lot of extra questions. And then he meets with local media afterwards. So it takes
electronic media.
Yes, it takes a long time
and that's something
to get to that point.
Yadi probably wouldn't want to do. And
No.
if Yadi can have his talents serving the catching situation, building a game plan for the pitchers, if he can help with fundamentals, if he can help with the hitting, if he can help the pitchers, I think that would be the ideal situation for Yadier Molina. He might serve the Cardinals better in a coaching role where he doesn't have to spend time catering to the media than he would as the manager.
I mean, I said it last week that, that's a different type of fatigue associated with coaching as opposed to playing. Like, playing is physical. It's every day. It's 162 games, 145, 130, however many you play behind the plate. But the mental aspect of coaching every day can wear on you, especially if your team isn't good. I've said this, and I will say it till the day I die, that coaching and losing, it impacts your quality of life. When you aren't winning games, your life feels a little bit different. You feel sluggish. You feel tired. You feel fatigued. You feel sick. And so...
Good mentality.
There you go. Trying to figure out a way to feel better when your guys aren't performing that well, that's a different level of fatigue for you. So I hope that he can bring, if he does come, I mean, it's still a 10% chance, according to his words, that he won't be here, 90% that he will. I hope that he does... bring something that these players can grab a hold to and really, fires them up and gets them going in the right direction.
And we had a situation here in St. Louis where the assistant hitting coach went to go to college. If Yadi comes in and has a significant role, with all the money that they're paying in college, does Blake Edwards go back to college and say, what the heck with this? I'm not going to...
I don't think that's his name.
We don't even know anymore.
Oh,
Dusty.
Okay, sorry. But does he decide,
Balake.
I don't need this. I can go back and make money in college and not deal with the headaches of essentially being defanged as the head pitching coach, because that all the pitchers and all the catchers are going to gravitate to Yadi.
Oh, 100%. And but that's the thing is, maybe he sticks around to learn from Yadi. And that's why I think that having him as a bench coach would be a huge asset, because he would be more than a bench coach. He would be doing a lot of different things. And I think that you would have to, if Yadi's coming here, you have to allow him to be Yadi and really help this team in many different ways. And just reading some of his quotes from this, I gather that if this is going to happen, he wants to do it now. Is that what you guys feel like with some of these quotes? He's not going to want to wait a little bit.
It's going to happen.
The 90% is very interesting.
And when we had Polo on, he said 15 out of 10.
Yeah.
That to me sounds like a person that believes that Yadi's going to come back. Yadi, when we got that report, sounded like he believes he's going to be back. So, yeah, should be interesting. Should be fun.
And I think with him making these quotes, he's kind of putting it on the Cardinals of, okay, you guys
Your
know
turn.
my interest, and I'm making it very public how interested I am in this job. Now it's up to you to make this happen.
One of the other parts of this, and I don't know how valid the thought process is in my mind, but when Katie Wu, in her piece, a great piece at The Athletic about the Cardinals' plans for the offseason, she writes, Molina would surely boost the pitching staff and would also presumably work extensively with Wilson Contreras behind the plate. This is an interesting line. He would also serve as an enticing reason for free agent starting pitchers to consider signing with St. Louis. Does Yadi or Molina have that much sway as a coach that a pitcher would choose St. Louis over somewhere else?
Oh, yeah. I think 100%. I think that especially if you hear what the pitchers have said about working with Yadi over the years, how many would talk about that, even the ones who've left the organization. I think 100% that would be very alluring for any free agent pitcher to see that.
So it'll be interesting, and presumably now, with the World Series starting on Friday, the Cardinals will, if they're going to hold an end-of-season press conference, hold it after the World Series. Or maybe it won't be an end-of-season press conference. Maybe it'll be to announce Yadi Molina as a coach, and they can just move on from the 90 losses.
Yeah, so we don't need to talk about that bad news.
No,
How about this?
What bad news? Nothing happened. Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here.
I don't disagree with you guys. We got something going. We got something going.
You got something going?
Sunshine lollipops.
Oh, there you go.
Together. There we go. Hope they get better.
Keep getting gooder.
That's the
Keep
goal.
getting gooder.
I don't remember which coach said that.
It was Turner Ward.
Oh, that was
You got to keep getting gooder.
I would have lost $50 on that. Which was the pitching coach or the batting coach who said that?
Turner Ward.
Yeah.
Flip a coin.
It wasn't Dusty Springfield. But we had
Dusty Springfield.
Was it Dusty or was it Turner?
It was
Turner.
It was Turner. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I liked the Dusty Rhodes the other day. I'm a
Dusty
WWF fan back when it was WWF.
Matthew,
WWE.
do you need a fighter for the fight?
Yes, we do.
We do have the fight coming up here on 101 ESPN, and we need a fighter. And all you need to do is text in your name and the word fight to the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho! The fight next on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Last night, the Blues started their road trip and fall to the Winnipeg Jets 4-2. Game 2 of that road trip, Calgary Flames, on Thursday evening. You want more Blues talk? We got it coming up here on the opening drive here on 101 ESPN as Blues analyst and Fast Lane host Jamie Rivers will join the show coming up at 8:45. And St. Louis Blues center Robert Thomas scheduled to join the show coming up at 9:30. Also last night, the Phillies fall to the Diamondbacks 4-2, and the Diamondbacks punch their ticket to the World Series for the first time since 2001. And that is your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
In the red corner, Average Joe Listener. And in the blue corner, the undisputed king of morning drive. Please welcome Randy Carricker.
Welcome back to the opening drive. Brooke Brinsley here alongside Carrie Davis, who is walking in right now. The timing just slightly off a little bit. Usually you walk in right there, but
I was in the Rizzuto show for 30 seconds.
In other studios?
Learn asked me to stop in.
I swear. Hey, Learn, we don't got those like 12-minute breaks you
Learn.
music stations do. No, they don't get those breaks at all. I'm kidding.
Who's our fighter?
TJ.
TJ, how's it going, TJ?
Oh, I'm doing good. How are you?
Are you ready to take on Randy Carricker?
I'm going to give it a shot. Can I shout out my buddy real quick?
Go ahead, TJ.
Yeah, my buddy Chris. He's probably listening.
Chris,
This one's
hello.
for you.
All right. Well, you got to win now. All right. Here we go, TJ. Corbin Carroll is the third rookie ever to win an NL postseason award. Which Cardinal was the second ever to do it? Is it Michael Wacha, Adam Wainwright, or Yadier Molina?
Michael Wacha.
The Cardinals have been swept in 2 World Series by the Sox in 2004, and which other American League franchise? Is it the Twins, the Tigers, or the Yankees?
Say the Tigers.
Who is the only player in MLB history to have 2 different 3-home run games in the World Series? Is it Babe Ruth, Ty Cobb, or Lou Gehrig?
Babe Ruth.
Kevin and Pat Williams formed the Williams Wall for which NFL team from 2005 to 2010? Is it the Bills, the Vikings, or the Jaguars?
Jaguars.
All right, we'll double check our score and we will bring in Randy Carricker.
How you feel, TJ?
Not great.
Not great. Okay. All right. Well, you know, sometimes we work hard, but we don't get the feel that we need. We'll see how Randy feels when he comes in. I told Randy he's got to start making predictions because he's just so prominent at his job here. Randy's coming in. He's got a bag of something. What's in the bag?
I had some grapes.
Oh, you're fueling yourself up?
Trying to, yeah.
All right. Say hello to TJ, Randy.
TJ, good morning. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing wonderfully. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you very much for playing. We do appreciate it.
All right, Randy, are you ready?
Ready, sir.
All righty. Here we go.
Okay.
Corbin Carroll is the third rookie ever to win an NL postseason award. Which Cardinal was the second ever to do it?
Let's see here. Wouldn't have been anybody in the 60s. You have Boyer and Gibson there, and nobody in the 70s. 80s, Porter won both. In the NLCSs, we didn't have any rookies that won then. So, 2013, Michael Wacha, NLCS MVP. There you go.
All righty.
The Cardinals have been swept in 2 World Series by the Sox in 2004, and which other American League franchise?
Sox in 2004. And which other American League franchise swept the Redbirds? I will say Sox in 04. I think we'll probably have to go back to the 20s or the 40s here. I'll say that I'll do the lifeline here, Brooke.
Twins, Tigers, or Yankees?
I'm going to go with the Tigers. I don't think the Yankees have ever swept the Cardinals. The Twins certainly didn't, although they did sweep them at home at the Metrodome. That was the first series where the home team won every single game. So I will go with the Detroit Tigers back in the day.
Where are we at? All right. Who is I'm thinking of the road team won every game in the ALCS, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah. Man, I just jumped into my brain. All right. Who is the only player in MLB history to have 2 different 3 home run games in the World Series?
Well, let's see. The people that have had 3 home runs in a game
Jesus.
are Pablo Sandoval, right?
Kung Fu Panda.
Albert Pujols.
Panda.
Reggie, Mr. October, and Baby Ruth. I'm going to go with George Herman Ruth, the Bambino, the Sultan of SWAT. He was really good, so he has a lot of nicknames.
So I heard.
Kevin and Pat Williams formed the Williams Wall for which NFL team from 2005 to 2010?
That would be the Minnesota Vikings with Kevin Williams and Pat Williams. Minnesota Vikings, final answer.
But are you sure?
Yes.
Final answer. He said final answer.
It's Wednesday.
He didn't get any do-overs once he says final answer.
I'm play a mind
Buffalo
game.
Bills.
Once he says final answer, it's final.
All right, I'm just thought I'd throw a little extra.
One little
fire
extra?
on the log. No, I don't.
So
no,
Kevin
no.
Williams.
Oh, God, here we go.
Remember when the Vikings missed taking a first-round pick?
I do remember that.
Yeah, they didn't get up to the clock in time.
Didn't they do it
twice?
Yeah, they did. But the first time they did it, they wound up taking Kevin Williams.
Good for them.
Yeah.
It happens to
Wound up being a pretty good
fall
player.
in your favor.
He played defensive end and then moved to tackle. So, Wednesdays, as we know, can be a little shaky. Randy has already had to fight off a potential Hall of Famer, or at least a round 2 winner yesterday. So, does he have to fight off another one on Thursday? Does Hump Day turn into a little bump for Randy Carricker? Does TJ roll on with a victory? Or has Megamind got this one on Wednesday? Ring that bell.
The winner and still champion of the fight, Randy Carricker.
I'm sorry, TJ. Randy Carricker just got you that last one. He beat you 3-2.
Dang.
He's getting a lot of
Thanks
those.
for having me.
Hey, thank you so much for joining. He's getting a lot of those 3-2 victories lately, but they don't ask how. They ask how many. So,
hey, I just try to do good radio. It's like Patrick Mahomes says, I don't blow anybody out. I just try to provide good TV. I just try to provide good radio.
Corbin Carroll almost became the 3rd rookie to win an NL postseason award. Tell Marte actually won it. I had Corbin Carroll down because I was like, he's going to win it. Then I didn't come back to the question. Yes. It was, I'm writing the question as the game's finishing. I find the stat and I'm like, well, this doesn't change even if he doesn't win it. Just write the question. He should have won. He should have become the 3rd rookie to ever win the NL postseason award. Which Cardinal was the last and second ever to do it and win an NL postseason award as a rookie. It was, in fact, Michael Waka who won the 2013 NLCS MVP.
Who was the first, by the way?
Livan Hernandez, 1997. I don't know if it was the NLCS or the World Series.
World Series.
I think it was but I think it was the World Series. Yes. He's the first NL rookie to do it. The Cardinals have been swept in 2 World Series by the Sox in 04, and it was, in fact, the New York Yankees in 1928, sweeping them 4-0. The only player in MLB history to have 2 different 3 home run games in the World Series. It's a short list, but he makes it a little bit longer. George Herman Ruth, 1926 and 1928, 2 separate 3 home run games. And Kevin and Pat Williams formed the Williams Wall, for which NFL team from 2005 to 2010. It was, in fact, the Minnesota Vikings. Not only did they miss a couple picks in there, but both Kevin and Pat, I believe, fought the exact same steroid case against the NFL for a couple of years. They were trying to suspend him, and they were like, "No, it's actually an agent that we use for workouts for other things. It's not really a steroid." So that whole thing. But it was a good run for them with the Vikings. And Randy, we had somebody on the text line who didn't like the way that we said Jaguars.
Jaguars. Jaguars.
Jaguar is like kind of how they used to say the car back in like the 60s and 70s.
Jaguar.
I guess, right?
Jaguar.
Yeah, that's kind of. I guess is that more of the car than the animal?
Jaguar. The car is Jaguar.
I
Is
like
it Jaguar's the car?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look across the street. There
Yeah,
it
it's,
is.
There you
Jaguar.
go.
It's not Jagwire. It's not Jaguar. It's Jaguar. Jaguar. Let's just go with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
We do.
Oh, that
Or the
sounds...
team that should have been ours.
They really criticize the way that we say different cat mascots on this show. I got you guys have hit me because
Wildcats.
No, Action Jackson has poisoned me with the way I say that one team in the AFC North that wears orange jerseys. The
Bengals, how you call them? The Bengals.
The Bengals.
And Bengals, some Bengals. Just some type of
I swear to God, I never had a problem. Then I started working with Action Jackson down the hall, and he calls them 100% without any like trepidation. He calls them the Bengals, and I'm like,
Cincinnati
he ruined it
Bengals.
for me, and now I just have to say Bengals.
The Bengals.
There you go. And the Jaguars.
Who they? We they.
Oh, who beat them Bengals?
All right. You can watch us on the YouTube. You can see all the chuckles that are taking place in this very room. It's the Air Alliance Studio Cam. Just go to YouTube and type in 101 ESPN STL, and you will be able to watch us and hear us both. Coming up next, we're going to head to the Great White North. Jamie Rivers is going to join us. Yeah, that's where Canada is.
Okay.
It is. It's because of the snow.
No, I just heard great white, and I didn't know where you were going with that.
And Jamie Rivers is going to join us on the heels of a 4-2 Blues loss to the Winnipeg Jets. That's next. Jamie on 101 ESPN.
Hey, it's Kerry, and I want to tell you about my friends over at STL Design and Build. My deck is almost completed. I think we're finishing up the final steps, putting the steps on literally as we speak, and finishing up and getting out of there. And it has been a great process. STL Design and Build has done a fantastic job of keeping me in the loop, keeping me updated with everything that is going on. They are an award-winning company, taking home the top workplace award as well as the best home improvement award. They truly believe in treating people how they want to be treated, and they will show you exactly exactly what customer service is. My project coordinator, Becky, has done a fantastic job of keeping me in the loop, explaining to me every step of the way what's going on, what went right, what went wrong. I had some gravel in between some boards a couple of weeks ago, and they had to replace the entire boards. They didn't want to put any boards on there not knowing if they had scratches on them, so they replaced the whole thing for me. And that's who they are. They are a company that takes care of their customers. If you want to learn more about them, go online today at stldesignandbuild.com. That's stldesignandbuild.com, and they will take care of you. They're the best.
Talking everything St. Louis Blues as we head into the Blues Booth. Presented by Boardwalk Hardwood Floors, a proud partner of your St. Louis Blues. Find your perfect new floor at our 4 convenient locations and online at boardwalkhardwood.com.
So if you ever play the Immaculate Grid, what you're trying to do is come up with a player that played for 2 different teams. And on today's Hockey Immaculate Grid, Andrew Massey puts this up on Twitter. There's a need for a player that played for both the New York Islanders and the Ottawa Senators. You need a player that played for both the Islanders and the Senators. Joining us now from Winnipeg, I believe, is our Blues analyst on Bally Sports here in St. Louis, Jamie Rivers, also co-host of The Fast Lane with Anthony Stalter. Jamie Rivers, good morning. Do you have any idea? Could you think of a player for me that played for both the Islanders and the Senators?
Well, good morning, Randy. Yeah, I know of one pretty well that played for both of those teams. A couple of short stints with those teams, too.
Yeah, you had a nice run there with the Islanders. You got 0.2%, by the way, so you're part of Immaculate. That's all you need to know today. You are Immaculate.
I will take it. Trust me.
Jamie, obviously not a good way to start the road trip last night, but there seems to be something that we're noticing in these first few games. How did the Blues go about generating more offensive zone time?
Well, yeah, that's a great question, Brooke. Yeah, right now I'm just watching a team that gets into the zone, and it's a lot like last year right now offensively, and they're just not getting any sustained offensive zone time. And, I think what's happening is the shot selection is maybe not the greatest. And then when they do have opportunities for shots, they're passing it up looking for a bigger, better play, and therefore end up turning over the puck to the opposition. And then you don't have control of it, and they start going transitioning and leaving their zone. So for me, it's pretty simple. If you don't have a clear grade A opportunity off the rush, get that puck in deep or carry it in and hang on to it, cycle the puck, keep it down low, get your defenseman involved. Craig Berube talked about that post-game. He doesn't feel like the forwards are including the defenseman in the offensive zone. He feels like it's 3 against 5 down in their end, and we're missing opportunities by not passing it to the defenseman and at least spreading out the zone and regaining control of the puck and hanging on to it. So, yeah, they definitely, for me, to create more offense, they have to spend more time in the offensive zone overall. Right now, they're just not doing that.
Jamie, it's interesting. You use the word simple there. Every struggling team or every team that goes on the road in the NHL says we have to play a simple game. Is it that simple? Do the Blues just need to play a simple game?
Yeah, I really do. I think it comes down to it. Watching them play for a number of games now, and the games where they were successful, there wasn't anything crazy involved in the game plan or the execution. It was pretty direct. It was moving the puck ahead to someone who was open, or moving the puck ahead to an area where someone can get it. And, that's where, when they played the other night against Pittsburgh, they did a fantastic job of both of those things. And then last night, there were pockets of it, but not enough. And, that was a very winnable game last night. You give up 2 goals in 18 seconds in the second period, and you think, woof, that's going to sting. Well, you got yourself to within 1 goal going into the third period, which is what you want on the road. You have a chance to win the game, and unfortunately you give up that other one 4-on-4, but you get right back into it. You pull the goal, you score again, you're right back in the game. It's a 1-goal game. So although they didn't generate a ton of offensive opportunities or offensive zone time, that was a very winnable game. I think that's what's going to be frustrating for Craig Berube when he looks back is, we didn't play great, but we still could have got 2 points out of this.
Jamie, it feels like you're talking about not shooting the puck when they have, those grade A chances. It feels like this team is a little bit too unselfish. And so I know you've been around guys that I tell these guys that when you're around superstar players, they're almost oblivious to what's going on around them. They are dialed in to whatever their job is. If it's shooting, if it's scoring, if it's catching passes, they don't care about anything else. Who is the player on this team that needs to be dialed in that manner and be a little bit more selfish?
Did you say player or players?
Hey, player or player. I've been around. You've been around. They have blinders on as they're walking down the street. They don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I made a bit of a joke there because I think there's more than one player here on the team that could be more selfish. I think the top line of Thomas and Kyrou, those 2 guys right there, I would love to see them be more selfish. And Pavel Buchnevich, he's back in the lineup last night, so good to get him back, but he had a glorious opportunity in the second period to where it was just him and the goalie, and he decided to try and make one more pass that didn't equate into even a shot on goal. In fact, it turned into a turnover. So those 3 guys, for me, I'd like to see them play a game where if I don't see somebody open immediately, we're taking that puck to the net. Because the crazy thing is that Pavel Buchnevich calls himself a playmaker, yet he's a 30-goal scorer. If I was a 30-goal scorer, I'd call myself a goal scorer, quite honestly. And, Jordan Kyrou has talked about, in junior hockey, he was a pass-first guy. Well, if I had scored 37 goals, I would call myself a goal scorer. And, Robert Thomas, who is obviously a very gifted passer out there, a distributor of the puck, but he's scored over 20 goals. So you know what? I would call myself a goal scorer. Shoot the puck, score some goals. That's what your team needs right now.
Jamie, when you look at this team so far, and it is so early, we've only played 5 games, but one of the things that popped up last year, one of the phrases was the compete level wasn't high enough, which I take to mean we aren't trying hard enough. What do you think of the compete level so far?
I think the compete level has been there, quite honestly. I think this team has played hard from the puck drop in Dallas on opening night on the road, and then, just because they haven't won every game, it doesn't automatically equate to a team that isn't competing.
Right.
I think that they're working hard. I think that they could work a little smarter. But I don't think this team is not competing right now. One direct indicator is the amount of block shots that they're having every game. That sucks to get hit with that puck. It sucks. And those guys still doing it. That shows me that they're competing.
I'm glad that you answer that question the way you did, because I felt the same way. I just didn't know if I was right. And so I wanted to make sure that what I was seeing wasn't my eyes deceiving me, because I think they're trying hard too. It's just the execution. It comes down to execution at this point.
Yeah, I agree. And, it's you worry sometimes because you think a team is competing and you know that this team is going to be built around the hard work and, giving of themselves and everything for the team. So you want to make sure that the staple of your game is present every night. And so far, the Arizona game, I still, even though the Arizona game, I didn't think they weren't competing. They just didn't play well. And, some of our listeners and fans have to realize that when you're watching that, there is a difference. Sometimes you can work your ass off and play terrible. Trust me, I've been there. And, it doesn't necessarily mean the team's not competing.
Jamie, is there a way it seems like a focal point has been obviously this new defensive system. Is there a way where we can still have this defensive system but not sacrifice so much offensively? Because it feels like we're kind of having that give and take right now where that push and pull, and they need to be pulling all more in the same direction.
Yeah, I know that those two seem to kind of go together right now. People are definitely associating the defensive system with lack of offense, but I don't look at it quite that way. If you look at the Pittsburgh game, you're playing the same defensive system, yet you generated a ton of scoring opportunities. Probably could have had a couple more. And even though you played that defensive system last night, you still had a couple breakaways and a partial breakaway where if those goals go in, we're not talking about a lack of offense. So done correctly, the defensive system is actually supposed to create a turnover with less movement out there so that you can go out offense quicker. And I think that's the thing that the Blues have to get to, though, is closing out plays faster. It's not as much of a sit back and just get, have the other team pound pucks at you. It's more of a don't give up the middle of the ice unless you absolutely have to. But then when there's a turnover, Craig Berube wants to activate everybody. He wants everybody to get up the ice and play offense. So it's not as much of a defensive thing as it is just when you get on the offense, making sure you make it count.
Jamie, I felt like I noticed this last year, and I'm starting to feel like I see it again this year. When the team gets down a couple of goals, it kind of feels like there's a lack of confidence that they can come back and win. Have you seen that? And if you have, how do they fix that?
I haven't seen that yet this year.
Okay.
Last night would have been a great example to kind of point that out, because Winnipeg scores 2 quick goals in the second, and last year you would have seen the air come out of the team, just like woof. And Craig Berube called a timeout. They came back out. They managed to score a goal before the end of the period, bringing it back to a 1-goal game. Heck, they scored a power play goal at that. So not only did they score, but they had the power play that's killing 2 birds with 1 stone for that team. So I don't see a team that is responding with that, woe is me when they get down by goals. I just think that I see a team that's not being able to, not identifying, that's a better word, not identifying when they can create offense right now.
Did you guys fly to Calgary last night, or are you still in Winnipeg?
No, we're in the lovely land of Calgary today, Randy.
10 degrees right now, right?
Yeah, 10 degrees, and there's probably 2 feet of snow on the ground. It's beautiful.
Holy smokes.
Certainly not Speedo weather.
No. So, Jamie, I got to ask, because you grew up in Ottawa, Ontario, you are a Canadian native, but you spent now more than half of your life in St. Louis. Have you turned into a weather wuss? Like, does 10 degrees affect you now really negatively?
Oh, I'm soft as baby poop now, Randy. I'll tell you that much. I get up here and I'm like, how do these people even live here? I never said that last night. I was like, why would anybody live here? Yeah, I've gotten soft in my old age.
Nothing wrong with that. Hey, have a great time in Calgary and then Vancouver, and we'll talk to you next week, but we'll see you back here before that.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Have a great one.
You too, Jamie. Take care. Jamie Rivers with us on 101 ESPN. Coming up, we talked about it earlier, and we want you to weigh in. You can use the mic drop feature with our app. Just click on mic drop and leave us a mic drop, or you can send us a text. Which person in the baseball postseason, and this includes managers and coaches and even Sandy Alcantara, who did not perform in the postseason but was in the playoffs, what person that the Cardinals used to have in the playoffs bothers you most that they're in the playoffs and aren't with the Cardinals anymore? That's next on 101 ESPN. There are a lot of great things about the Schnucks Rewards app. If you want to order and be able to pick up curbside at Schnucks, you can just set yourself up with the Schnucks Rewards app. Just put everything onto the list that you want. You can stop by and pick up curbside. It's really easy. If you have the Schnucks Rewards app and you want to order something from the deli ahead of time, they'll put it in a cooler for you when you go to the store, and you don't have to worry about it. And when you use the Schnucks Rewards app, it's rewards. That means you get 2% back on every purchase that you make at Schnucks, whether it's from the best bakery in town or whether it's from the fabulous butcher shop or whether it's from produce. Whatever it is that you buy at Schnucks, use the Schnucks Rewards app and get 2% back. I use it all the time, and one of my favorite features is when you put your list in and then you just click on the map, whatever store you're at, whatever Schnucks store you're at, it'll guide you through the store to have a really efficient shopping experience. So much you can do with the Schnucks Rewards app, including coupons. Save a bunch of money, save a bunch of time when you go to Schnucks with the Schnucks Rewards app.
Recapping the biggest sports stories of the day on the opening drive with a Rush Hour Reset.
The strike away. Here he comes. Cave, a fly ball to right field. Over is Carroll. He's got it. And the Arizona Diamondbacks are headed to the World Series. The Diamondbacks have won the National League pennant. And the Fall Classic will return to the desert for the first time in 22 years. The comeback Diamondbacks, the answer backs. 2 comeback wins in games 3 and 4. And down in this series, they come back, win 4 of the last 5. And Arizona will represent the National League in the World Series.
Brian Anderson had the call last night on TBS, and the Arizona Diamondbacks knocked off the Phillies 4-2 to advance to the World Series for the first time since 2001 when they beat the Yankees. Brandon Pfaadt goes 4 strong innings. He allows a couple of runs. Then the bullpen for Arizona buckled down. Mantiply with 2/3 of an inning. Thompson with an inning and a third. Saalfrank with a third of an inning. Ginkel with a spectacular inning and 2/3, and then Sewald, their closer, finishes things up. And Torey Lovullo, managing in his first NLCS, was up there on the dugout watching that final at-bat take place.
That last at-bat, I let my mind wander for about 15 seconds in between pitches and thought, we're really close to doing something really special for the entire state of Arizona, for this organization that's had a lot of hardships over the past.
And he had Ketel Marte, which helped. Marte goes 12 for 31 with 4 doubles, a triple, 3 RBIs, and a stolen base in the NLCS. And Marte, was named the NLCS MVP. So congratulations to the Diamondbacks. They'll play the Rangers for the World Championship. The Rangers have never won the World Series, and the Diamondbacks won the only one they played in.
The Answerbacks. I
The
like
Answerbacks.
that. I thought that was a good one. I don't think anybody was predicting that this was going to happen. I guess embracing the chaos is what they say. I'm fully embracing it. You can have 2 more different teams facing off against each other in the World Series, especially when it comes to how they approach spending money. You have a lot of young stars with the Diamondbacks. Signing Corbin Carroll, we've talked about that before, was huge. Locking him up, locking up that contract. And then you've had other ones kind of show and be stars. Ginkel was very good coming out of the bullpen last night. That he was spectacular. Fought as well. Fought. There you go. Fought. Fantastic. And then for the Rangers, they went out and spent a lot of money and have even more of a veteran presence. I know that they have some younger guys too that have contributed, including Evan Carter, but still it's more of a veteran-led team.
Do you think that was more on the Phillies losing it or the Diamondbacks actually taking it?
I think in the last few games, of both. I think the aggressiveness of Arizona allowed them to take it. Yes. And I really believe that the pitching for Arizona stepped up in shutting down Harper, Schwarber. Schwarber was still reasonably effective, but man, they're top 4 with Trey Turner, Harper, Castellanos, Schwarber. They did not do anything in the last couple of games.
No, I agree. I think I agree that it was probably both. I mean, the fact that the Diamondbacks hadn't been stealing bases, hadn't been playing their game. They talked about it. Torey Lobello talked about it when they lost, I think, Game 2. And was saying, Game 2 or 3, was saying that they weren't playing their game. And finally, 5, 6, and 7 back in Philadelphia, they played their game. They're stealing bases. They're running. They're sacrifice bunting. They're playing small ball. And it was interesting listening to the broadcast last night how they were saying, you know, postseason baseball kind of goes back to 80s and 90s baseball where guys are doing the little things. And it begs the question, well, why don't we do that all year long? Like, why not? Why not do that? If it works in the most important time of the year, why not do it all year long? Why not have guys stealing bases? Why not sacrifice guys over from first to second or second to third and put them in scoring position so that one hitter can get them in, you know, with less than 2 outs? Those things matter. I think the Arizona Diamondbacks did a much better job of it. The Phillies were fueled by solo home runs pretty much this entire postseason. And as you said, once the Diamondbacks pitching staff started not allowing those home runs to go over the fence, they put themselves in a position to win.
They did. And that's the thing is getting to whatever works for you. What has made you successful? And I think there's a lot too. Some people, I saw it, I think it was Nate Silver posted on X just how angry he was that this is the 2 teams that were getting the World Series. Why? I think that it's exciting, and also I think it's even more proof of getting hot at the right time, doing enough in the regular season to get you into the postseason, and those are all things that are very unpredictable, and I like that. I like the uncertainty of how this is all going to pan out. It just really matters on playing your best and playing your game specifically at the right time towards the end.
4-2 was the final last night. The World Series starts on Friday. Meanwhile, the Blues also lost 4-2 in Winnipeg. Coach Craig Berube, we asked this question of Jamie Rivers. Do the Blues need to raise their compete level at all?
Well, yeah, I didn't think it was good enough tonight for sure. You know, to me, it wasn't good enough. It's got to be a lot better than it was tonight.
And yes.
Why is that? Why do you? Okay, the Coyotes game, that could have been the soundbite after the Coyotes game. Then you play Pittsburgh, and they did compete well. And then they go to Winnipeg, and it's that. Why is it the ups and downs with this team?
Different talent levels against the other teams, maybe? Or it's just that they can't build any consistency?
Is it the talent level? Do we not have the superstars in which we here in St. Louis believe we do?
I think that they're very...
in comparison to other teams?
I think they're talented. It's just, for some reason, the chemistry is not there yet with the different lines. And that the biggest thing, too, and I thought it was really interesting what Jamie said when we keep talking about the defensive system, where he mentioned that it was meant to create some more turnovers so that you could get back and do some more things offensively. And I think that somehow getting that coming together, because the skill is meant to be on display more. They are getting some chances. It's just what they're able to do with those chances for some reason. And I mean, 20 shots on net is not going to do it. You can't continue to be outshot in every single game. Yeah.
I think the question that I keep asking is, do they have superstars? Because that, to me, if you want to be a good team, you have to have all levels of a team, all levels of players. You have to have the superstars, the guys that you know are Hall of Famers or teetering on that line of Hall of Fame. And there is a difference between those guys and the guys underneath them. There is. It's just God gave them more. He gave them a better ability to do things in a better way than you. But you have to have those guys on your roster to be successful. And you have to have your guys that are just below that, a guy that's going to go to 2 or 3 All-Star games but may not be the Hall of Fame player. And then you have your role guys, the guys that are grunts and fight their way through the league and try to, make a roster, and they are the heart and soul of that team. Does this Blues team have all of those aspects?
No, they do not.
Well, then I don't think they're going to win many games.
Blues at Flames tomorrow night, and tonight in Kansas at Children's Mercy Park is Sporting Kansas against the San Jose Earthquakes. That game is at 8:30 St. Louis time, and that game will determine who St. Louis City SC plays in their first playoff game ever at City Park on Sunday night at 9 o'clock. Sporting KC and San Jose tonight, or Sporting Kansas tonight in the great state of Kansas.
I think we're all wanting it to be Sporting Kansas.
Yes, we
right?
Are. Yep.
We want it to be Sporting Kansas.
It is Sporting Kansas. Where do they play?
Kansas.
There you go.
Self-proclaimed
Well, that's
soccer
who we want to
capital
face.
America. Yeah.
City SC wants to face Sporting Kansas.
We want
Here's
to
the
face
thing.
them.
If they get mad that we're calling them by what might not be 100% what their branded name is, just change it back to something that doesn't suck.
Yeah, the Wizards.
Just change it back to something with, a little heart, personality, I don't know,
good idea.
tradition. Instead of just the most milquetoast name this side of Real Salt Lake.
There is your
Real
rush hour
Salt
reset
Lake.
on 101 ESPN 914. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Coming up, we want to hear from you with the mic drop or with the text machine. What person that used to be in the Cardinal organization, and this can be a coach or a manager, player, whatever you want it to be, what person that participated or was on a team, was property of another team in the playoffs, most bothers you that the Cardinals don't have? That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, how are you feeling today, mister? If you're feeling fatigued, if you're a little bit anxious, if you're driving around and you just don't have that physical stamina that you usually have, if you woke up already tired, I want you to get to Mentality at lowtusa.com. What Mentality is going to do is check your testosterone level. And low testosterone is the reason that many of us guys don't have the energy that we think that we should have. Well, at Mentality, they've got board-certified physicians that are going to do a panel on your blood work and find out where your testosterone level is. And then here's the cool thing. They have an FDA-approved testosterone supplemental treatment that is going to provide you with the opportunity to get that energy level back because your testosterone level will be restored. The nurses are wonderful. You go in for a treatment every week, and it makes a difference in the way you feel and the way your life is. They'll work with your insurance company to provide the lowest out-of-pocket expenses possible. They're wonderful to deal with in Chesterfield and South County. Learn more by going to lowtusa.com and be the guy that you want to be and have that long day, that physical stamina that you want to have by going to Mentality. Mentality spot. No. And out of the corner of my eye, I see Brooke chugging something. I said, what? That doesn't look like Gatorade. It doesn't look like water. She's got her coffee in a different cup. She's chugging Theraflu.
Guys, okay, first off, I got tested for COVID and for flu. I don't have COVID or flu. It's just I was telling them during the break, this time of year, anytime there's any sort of weather change, I always get a cough or a cold. And I also said that if I would have lived back before modern medicine,
in the Victorian era
during the Victorian era, or just really any era before medicine, I would have been the first to go. I mean, every single play gone, just instantly. They were like, "Oh wow, that was quick." Be like, "Yeah, that's what happens to Brooke. She gets sick really easily."
Brooke wouldn't have made it on the Tennessee Volunteers in the 1800s. Sorry, tapping out. Not gonna happen.
First to go.
All right, we talked about this earlier, and we want to hear from you with the text line 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. Or you can send us a mic drop with our app, the 101 ESPN app. But what Cardinal that is in the postseason is bothering you most? And earlier, we gave ours, and you can choose from among a lot of people. Sandy Alcantara, who obviously was on the IL with Miami, but Zach Gallen, nominally the number one starter, will probably start game one of the World Series for the Diamondbacks. Tommy Pham got benched but bounced back with a homer last night. Adolis Garcia, the American League Championship Series MVP. Chris Stratton performing well for the Rangers down the stretch, although I think we might have only seen him once in the playoffs so far. Jordan Montgomery, Randy Arozarena, Genesis Cabrera, Jordan Hicks, Mike Maddox, Skip Schumacher. A lot of names out there that used to wear the Cardinal uniform. And guys, I said Skip because I looked at the way that the Marlins were able to turn around fundamentally, and not dramatically, but they did a lot of little things well that helped them make it to the playoffs. I think it's reasonable that you guys both decided to go with players, and CD, you went with a pitcher.
Yeah, I went with Jordan Montgomery, and specifically because he was actually on the roster this year. He was a guy that, watching him succeed now in the playoffs, headed to the World Series, was one of the key cogs in that Texas Rangers starting rotation, and then in relief in Game 7, you see what he's doing, what he's done since he's left, and it has to make you wonder, man, why can't we have nice things? It has to frustrate you as a Cardinals fan, to see, you want to see guys do well, but you know what he offered here, and what the Cardinals need going into 2024 is starting pitching. You had one. he's in the World Series now with the Texas Rangers. So for me, that was the most frustrating one to watch leave and still perform in the playoffs.
How about you, Brooke?
And he made it very clear that he wanted to stay in St. Louis, at least during spring training. Now, that could have changed through the course of everything they experienced this season, but you never know. Mine was Adolis Garcia, and I also put Randy Arozarena in that category because outside of pitching, what else did we need this season from the Cardinals? What did we see a lot this season? Infielders in the outfield, because you had outfielders dealing with injuries. Tyler O'Neill being one of them. Lars Nootbaar, that was a different situation. But we saw so much turnover in the outfield, and they were looking for offensive production from their outfielders. Randy Arozarena and Adolis Garcia provide that, and they provide it on a pretty consistent basis. I think what hurts me most about Adolis Garcia, and look, we already are getting some texts in about it. I saw earlier, and I've seen people point this out, and I do recognize that even the Rangers DFA'd him, and so maybe this is one of those situations, too, where he needed kind of this adversity to really propel him into the player that we are seeing here currently, because then after that whole situation, he really took off. 2 all-star nods for him, and we've seen what he's done in this postseason for the Rangers. But the fact that he did do some really good things in the minor leagues. If you look at his minor league numbers, he was fantastic. And I think that giving him such a limited opportunity at the big league level, there had to have been something more behind the scenes that these other teams maybe didn't notice that also passed on him, because when he is DFA'd, the other teams pass on him too.
And I think the toothpaste is out of the tube with what I'm going to say next. I don't think the Cardinals can rewrite this history. I sure would have liked to have seen them give some of their international signings like Garcia, like Alcantara, like Randy Arozarena an opportunity for a year, rather than deciding, okay, we spent all this money on these guys and it didn't happen fast enough. We're going to move them, whether DFAing them or in the case of Arozarena and Alcantara, including them in trades. I would love to see the Cardinals show would have loved to have seen the Cardinals show a little bit more patience, or a lot more patience with their Latin players.
And that's what bothers me about it, is that they weren't given enough of an opportunity. To me, that's more of a talent evaluation issue there. For them to go on and be superstars elsewhere, those two are the most painful to see for me, because it's like, man, they weren't given much of a chance here in the bigs, even though they did great things in the minors. So they were doing all the right things, and then when they got here, they were given a limited opportunity.
Yeah, 48 games between the 3 of them on the big league roster. I mean, you had Arozarena played 19 games, Adolis Garcia 21, and Alcantara 8. How can you evaluate someone at this level with those number of games being played?
And you really, really hope.
How do you know
that it is just an evaluation issue and not something more? Yeah, I hope that's the case. A text from the 636: seeing Mike Maddox, pitching coach for the Texas Rangers, over there with Jordan Montgomery, while the Cardinals are sitting here with Dusty Springfield. Randy Arozarena and Adolis Garcia. That's from the 314.
It would have been nice to have an outfield. You know, you could have put Jordan Walker in center field if that was the case. Right?
Yeah, or you could give
Adolis Garcia right field.
Give Randy A chance out there.
Randy A in center field. There you go.
It's Randy A, this from the 314, and it's not even close. They didn't even give him a chance despite him hitting the cover off the ball in the minors. We've been searching for outfielders for the last 10 years, and here's an all-star who was performing for us in the minors and never even got a shot because he didn't fit the Cardinals' culture. Ugh. Thank you very much. Let's get to a mic drop. This is Alec, who joins us on 101 ESPN.
I mean, it's got to be Edmundo Sosa, right? But in all seriousness, I think while Adolis Garcia might be a hot topic, the most frustrating has to be kind of equal for me, Zach Gallen and Sandy A. And you get 2 guys who are, one winning a Cy Young is Sandy A, and the other Cy Young caliber pitcher. Both made it to the postseason. Zach Gallen's now the ace of his staff of a World Series team. And then seeing what we got for them being Marcelo Zuna, who was just utterly disappointing, and now our lack of pitching being really the crux for this team is just kind of, I'm happy for them that they're succeeding, but it's kind of like a needle every time they go out there and pitch really, really well.
Thank you, Alec. And you're right. It does feel like a needle being stuck into you which is a lot of pain, unless it's like, are you using it for What's the
acupuncture? Okay, because I was trying to think. I was like, when is that ever a fun situation?
Yeah.
Oh, acupuncture.
Yeah. And by the way, wouldn't it be amazing? And I don't think it'll happen because Nathan Eovaldi does exist. But wouldn't it be amazing if it were Gallen against Montgomery in Game 1?
That's too much to bear as a Cardinals fan.
Yeah, didn't we already see that in the All-Star game?
And Tommy Pham and Adolis Garcia being the hitting home runs. It just be fun. Just go ahead. Do your thing.
And homegrown arms is something, too, that you feel like the Cardinals are missing right now. And so parting with that, it makes it stings even more. The whole Marcell Ozuna situation, that's a hindsight situation because I think that they obviously were hoping that he would have done what he did in Miami, and it did not pan out exactly that way. But to have two arms that you need now is really painful to deal with.
Yeah.
Here's a text from the 314. Does Randy A have any blame in this for the live streaming during the was it playoffs? Was it playoffs?
Or,
yeah,
it was after they won the series against.
You know who else live streamed their coach in the locker room?
Who did?
Antonio Brown. Mm-hmm. You know what he did?
What?
Played the next damn game. It didn't matter. We're gonna find him. We're gonna penalize him. We're not gonna penalize us.
Bingo.
Is what Mike Tomlin said.
Bingo.
I am not going to ruin our team because he is an idiot. I'll get in his pockets. I'll make sure that he knows not to do it again. But I'm not gonna penalize us because he's a damn good player. So no. If that's the reasoning behind it, then you're just foolish.
And Randy Arozarena, keep in mind, came over here. He went from Cuba to Mexico and then wound up coming through the minors, and he was in St. Louis. He was 24 years old, and he was immature, and he was in a different culture. And when you have somebody like that, and I don't know if that's the only reason he was traded, the Cardinals didn't shop him. The Rays loved Randy Arozarena, and they came to the Cardinals. The Cardinals weren't shopping him because they saw him in Mexico and loved him, and they always wanted him. They tried to sign him down there and couldn't. The Cardinals got him. So it wasn't that the Cardinals were shopping him. I don't really believe that video had anything to do.
No.
I think Liberatore was a really highly regarded prospect when the Cardinals made that trade.
Yes.
Everybody nationally was stunned that the Rays would trade Liberatore.
Yeah, maybe they saw something.
Yep. And by the way, on that day, I remember sitting in this chair that I'm sitting in right now. I was in the fast lane. And Cardinal fans on our text line were complaining about the Cardinals trading Jose Martinez in the trade. Randy Arozarena wasn't given the light of day that day because everybody loved Jose Martinez.
You're going to get people stirred up because every time you say that, people are always like, I knew.
Well, you should have texted in. You know what? I remember you should have texted in that day, not now.
He did.
Yeah. Coming up next on 101 ESPN, we're going to talk to Robert Thomas about what's going on with the Blues on 101 ESPN.
That's a good text.
You know what's a hassle is coming home and seeing a big tree down in your yard and it hitting against your gutters, and you need new gutters. If you need new gutters in the St. Louis region, you need to get in touch with Gutter Pros. They're going to do work within a 50-mile radius of their downtown office. They work both in Missouri and Illinois, and they do fantastic work. For a long time, they've done more than just gutters, and that's important. They do siding and soffit and fascia, and in the gutter world, they do seamless 5-inch residential and 6-inch commercial gutters, and even seamless 7-inch commercial and industrial gutters too. They have a lot of leaf protection for seamless gutter sizes, and that's an important thing in St. Louis because we have so many big trees. And you don't want to have water coming over the side of your gutters. You want to have your gutters work, so you want leaf protection, and you can get that at Gutter Pros. Get in touch with them at Gutter Pros, Gutter, gutterpros.com, and find out what they do. It's a wonderful St. Louis company, provide lien waivers with their invoices. They're not a high-pressure company at all. They'll come out, and they'll give you an estimate, and then either you can take it or not take it. It's Gutter Pros. If you need gutters, it's the one place to go to. Tell them Randy sent you when you go to gutterpros.com.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues last night facing off against the Winnipeg Jets. They fall 4-2. They are back in action on Thursday evening, facing off against the Calgary Flames. You want to catch more Blues talk right here on 101 ESPN? Go back to our Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers podcast as Randy Carrienbrook talked it all over with Jamie Rivers, Blues analyst and 101 ESPN host. And you'll be able to hear our next guest as well on the podcast later today, Robert Thomas, Blues Center, coming up next on the opening drive. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your road and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
It's
played into the middle, force far side, shoot, score! Robert Thomas finds the back of the net to make it a one-goal game. 3:23 to go. Third period, it's 3-2.
Robert Thomas made it close last night, but the Blues could not overcome the deficit to Winnipeg and lost 4-2, an empty netter late for the Jets. Brooke Grimsley, Super Bowl champ Kerry Davis, Randy Carricker, and we head to Calgary now, and joining us is number 18 for your St. Louis Blues, Robert Thomas. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good, guys. How are you?
Everything's good. What were you feeling last night after you got that tally? What were you thinking about what would happen in the last 3.5 minutes of the game?
Yeah, I thought we were coming back. We had some pressure, had the momentum, and just couldn't find a way to get another one.
Robert, you played on a team that had incredible offensive zone time. Obviously, that 2019 team. How do you guys go about generating more offensive zone time this season?
Yeah, I think it comes down to puck possession. I think we need to hold on to the puck, make better plays with the puck, and I think our defensive zone's gotten a lot better. Our transition has gotten a lot better, but we need to continue working on that offensive zone and making sure we're holding on to the puck and making teams really work to get the puck back.
Robert, you talk about working and learning. It seems like there's a lot of guys that just have the innate ability to hang on to the puck. How do you get better at holding on to the puck?
I think it's just better decisions with the puck. I think we can spread the zone out more, use our D more, and that creates more space for everyone. Talked about 2019. There's only a couple guys left from that team, and so it's we got a bunch of new guys, and we got to continue to kind of hammer away at that.
Robert, you all have been outshot in every game this year so far. Is that something that you all discuss about, facing less shots and possibly getting more shots on goal?
Yeah, I think you can kind of dissect that a little bit. There's, obviously shots that are better than other shots, and for a good amount of those games we've had more quality shots, which in the long run will lead to more goals. So we need to get more pucks to the net and get more people to the net and get some greasy ones. But I think kind of shot quality we've been doing all right.
Do you think that the inconsistent play that we've seen, or inconsistent games that we've seen here early on, is just you guys still kind of figuring out things chemistry-wise, or is there anything else that you guys have discussed of what it could be?
Yeah, not sure, to be honest. I think, our start last game was a lot better. It's a tough building to come into, and, you get out of it 0-0. In Winnipeg, you're pretty happy with that, and they just kind of took it to us in the second, and we had a little bit of a lull. And but I think for the most part we've been pretty happy.
Hey, Robert, you're in a place right now in Calgary where it's 10 degrees outside. It's going to get down into the 20s next week. You grew up in Canada, so you know cold weather. Give your fans and our listeners an idea as to how to stay warm, or at least as warm as you can, when it's 10 or 20 degrees.
Stay inside.
That's a good start.
No, I know it's always tough. You get a little bit spoiled now living in St. Louis, where it doesn't get as cold as it does up here. And stepping off the plane last night late at night, and it is just freezing cold, and there's snow. And we just left St. Louis, and it felt like it was like 65 and sunny. So. Definitely a little bit of a shock on the body.
Okay, a couple of things. Number one, how do you, as a hockey player, is there anything you do special to keep your feet warm? So that, because obviously you're getting, the boots are getting wet. Is there anything you do to keep your feet warm?
Yeah, growing up, I'd always just double sock it whenever I was playing outdoor hockey. Throw double socks on, sometimes even cramp some toe warmers into the toes of your skates. So that was what I did.
I have some boots that I bought. They're Nike boots. They are waterproof. They are the best boots that I have ever purchased for cold weather and water and rain and all of it. So I can give you some advice on that. They are awesome. I use them obviously during football season. Yeah, keep my feet warm.
The feet and hands are the most important.
If my feet and hands are warm, I'm good. Everything else, it doesn't bother me. But once your toes get cold, take me home. I'm done.
But we always hear about layering. Like Robert, have you ever tried? Do you do layering? Does layering really work if you're a Canadian young man?
Oh, layering's great. There's it's not like tights, but it's kind of like. It's kind of like tights. You throw that on underneath your clothes, and you're warm as hell.
Okay.
Robert, I'm going to get back to a hockey question real quick. Sorry to divert from the clothing layering, but I wanted to ask you about Jake Neighbors and Alexei Toropchenko, their performances last night. It seemed like they really stepped up.
Yeah, I thought those two played pretty well. I thought they, worked hard. They created some chances and, drew a couple of penalties. That was big in kind of changing the game and getting us back into the game. So, I really liked what I saw from them.
I'm thinking Toropchenko probably when when he hits you, it hurts.
Yeah, he's a big boy. He gets some speed too. So, definitely hurts.
Robert, you all got your first power play goal last night. So when I was playing, we would have kind of an incentive for certain things, special teams tackles, or maybe a guy got a free dinner if you did a certain thing. Do you all have any incentives for one another, scoring power play goals, block shots, things to help the team out?
Yeah, not necessarily. I think it's definitely recognized when guys put their body on the line, and it's nice to get a power play goal. We've had so many chances the last couple games, and I've been frustrated not to see them go in. So that was a big goal for the power play.
All right, one other thing, because you mentioned you want to stay inside when it's this cold. You have a day off in Calgary. You play tomorrow night. Do you guys bring video games? What do you guys do to entertain yourselves in the hotel on a cold night in Calgary?
Depends. Usually some cards. Usually just hang out in the team lounge, something like that. Not really too much planned, so I'll have to let you know on that one later.
All right, we'll talk about it. Hey, have a great trip to Canada. Thanks so much for the time, Robert, and we will talk to you next week.
Yep, thanks, guys.
See you later. Robert Thomas, Blues forward, with us on 101 ESPN, joining us on an early morning in Calgary.
It was very early. I think he was still just waking up a little bit. Yeah.
So.
No. They're in Mountain.
Oh, okay.
That's why. So yeah, it was 7:45 for Jamie, 8:30 for Robbie.
They have a players' lounge.
Robbie.
Oh,
Just saying.
Oh, okay.
Robbie,
I double check.
Robbie, that's what you're calling him now.
Something.
Robbie.
Really, you're gonna
said
be
it.
that guy.
I didn't say it.
Bless
You just gave him a
America.
nickname, Robbie. Robbie Thomas.
I decided that it's okay for me to do it because one time he referred to himself as Robbie in a text when we were trying to figure out his schedule.
Okay.
And he called himself Robbie, and I was like, well, then I'm calling him Robbie.
No.
Okay.
Did he say Robbie can do 7:30?
Talking in third person.
It wasn't in third person.
Those are the best
It was
people
not in third
in the
person. I'm
world
trying
to
to
me.
think of the exact way he referred to himself, and I cannot remember what it was. I just remember it happening and being like, all right, I can call him
Robbie don't do before 7 a.m. Robbie.
Oh my God.
One of the all-time great first-person stories is the Major League Baseball Players Association rep is in the A's locker room, and the guy is talking about, okay, if you got tenure, here's what you are able to do. Okay, so if you got if you're a tenured player, here's what you can do, and it's all the benefits that are provided for a tenured player. And Ricky Henderson said, 10 year? Hell, Ricky got 15 years.
Ricky Henderson.
Flying into Chicago over Lake Michigan. Hey, Ricky wants to know what ocean that is. It's great.
I just showed Brooke proof.
It says, hey, it's Robbie. You guys calling me? And he uses you, like the actual letter U instead of Y-O-U.
That's a young person thing.
That is a young person
thing. He's short on
so
time.
busy. You got to get that U.
Yeah. Was that this morning?
He called himself Robbie?
Don't call Robbie.
No, that's like one of the first times.
Robbie don't do no 7 a.m. calls. Just start randomly talking in the third person, just out of nowhere. Carrie ready to go to break.
We're going to have Rock and Roll and Metallica tickets coming up on the opening drive. Hey, it's Randy, and I want you to know about what's going on in the real estate market. If you need a reliable, experienced, and trusted agent, take it from me. Get to know my friend Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. There are so many reasons to get in touch with Gloria, and obviously the biggest reason is that she is going to sell your home the fastest and for the most money. She already has buyers in place, which is very cool. That's how she sells the fastest, because she is able to guarantee the sale of your home with thousands of ready buyers that she has collected over 20 years in business. She's got an exclusive database that's looking to buy in your neighborhood and in your price range, and they're all ready to go. This is how Gloria nets you the most money and creates the highest demand. So many times with multiple offers, and that means more money in your pocket. Gloria is going to sell it for more and sell faster when compared to your average agent. So get in touch with Gloria Liu, 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here. Ever since I moved here to St. Louis back in 2018, I've loved exploring my new home, and thanks to the Metro, it's so much easier to do. I've lived in other cities growing up around Nashville that didn't provide public transportation, and believe me, it led to a lot of congested traffic, and it made it harder to get to events like games and concerts, but that's why I love Metro Transit. It's easy to access for everyone. It's hockey season now, so it can take you right over to Enterprise Center. You can go to Busch Stadium, you can go to City Park without the hassle of parking or waiting in traffic. Trying to find an Uber, you know how hard that is, especially surge prices for concerts and games. Metro Transit just gets you straight to the action. Even if you haven't given Metro a try yet, it's something that I can promise you. Other places, they wish they had it available. There's many benefits even if you don't ride. A healthy and vibrant public transportation system helps attract businesses to come here to St. Louis and creates a significant amount of jobs in the region. And of course, it helps many people get to their job. Give Metro a chance and experience the benefits for yourself. Thanks to Metro, you don't have to drive to thrive.
I want to rock and roll.
Let's rock. Let's rock today.
At the end of the season, the New York Mets fired Buck Showalter as their manager, and he, by the way, has a chance to go to Anaheim and take over the Angels. It was assumed when the Mets hired David Stearns as their new Pobo that he would try to bring Craig Counsell from Milwaukee. Initially, the Brewers rejected permission of the Mets to interview Craig Counsell. Now they have allowed permission, and it would be kind of a stunner if the new manager of the New York Mets was not Craig Counsell.
It would be, yeah. It's very interesting to see how all this is kind of panning out, especially this postseason, some of the moves made, especially with Schilt being brought up into the conversation, too, with that whole situation with A.J. Preller. That situation is going to be intriguing to me because it seems like you're walking into a very bad situation, possibly with the Padres, especially everything that you've heard going on surrounding it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because if you can't get along with Bob Melvin, and apparently Preller could not, then who are you going to get along with? I would also be interested to see if Mike Shildt gets the job, and he appears to be the guy with the inside track. I wonder what sort of a coaching staff he puts together there. I wonder if Mark McGwire returns to the dugout.
Nice. That would be cool.
That would anger a lot of people here.
Do you have an issue? Do you have any issues with the recycling of managers and head coaches in sports?
Not good ones, but bad ones.
Okay.
It seems like that happens a lot in the NFL and college football.
Yeah,
definitely.
I get tired of guys that lose and then lose and then lose, and people think they're going to turn it around. But Mike Shildt has been to the playoffs in each of his full
been a manager of the year. So
so it's a little bit different.
And Buck Showalter has been manager of the year 3 times, correct?
I think 4 with 4 different teams. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
So, but yes,
but hasn't won a championship. They win after he leaves.
Exactly.
That's kind of troubling.
Right. But to answer your question, it's amazing to me that some guys in all sports, and hockey is the worst, basketball's not much better, continue to get jobs over and over and over again. I think basketball's kind of turned the corner in giving new guys an opportunity. Hockey still hasn't. All right, so we're going to give away some tickets to Metallica. They're going to be in town this weekend, and you can see them on Sunday night, November 5th. They're playing a huge no-repeat weekend on Friday and Sunday with 2 different sets and 2 different opening acts. 2-night tickets and single show tickets are on sale now. Get all the details and find a bonus chance to win a pair of free tickets for Metallica now at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 ESPN mobile app. But you can text in now to play the game. Text in to win free tickets at 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO on the Air Comfort Service text line. And you have to guess how many
World Series MVPs.
Ooh, Kerry Davis can name in 30 seconds.
I'm just going to name names. I don't know if they actually won, but I know the teams have won, so we're going to see how this goes. I got a few that I know for sure, but we'll see.
Can I just say that, Kerry, I love that you've embraced this new game, and instead of just saying, oh, do I know it, do I not know it, you just goes, I'm going to come up with strategies when I don't know things and just try.
Then just run through.
Except for that one time where you decided that you weren't going to try at all.
Yeah, that was a dumb one. FIFA basketball team.
It was FIBA.
Anthony. FIFA. See what I'm saying? FIFA. It could have been FIFA. Who would have knew?
All right, Kerry Davis, World Series MVPs in 30 seconds. Are you ready, my good
ready.
sir? All
yes, sir.
right, here we go.
Jeremy Pena, David Ortiz, Derek Jeter, Babe Ruth, Reggie Jackson, Lou Gehrig, Albert Pujols, Jimmy Rollins, Ryan Howard, Levon Hernandez.
Game 6.
Did I say Albert Pujols?
No, another Game 6.
See, this happens every time. My brain goes to mush. I said David Ortiz. I said Derek Jeter. I said Alex Rodriguez. I said, who am I missing? Mariano Rivera. David Freese.
Randy.
Come on. You did not get David Freese in time. By my count, by my count here, I'm looking at the full run here. You got the man who won 73 and 77 in Reggie Jackson, 1997 Levon Hernandez, 2000 Derek Jeter, 2013 David Ortiz, and 2022 Jeremy Pena. I got you for 5, Kerry Davis. I got you for 5.
Didn't have the World Series MVP when Babe Ruth was playing.
1955 was your first World Series MVP.
Strategy. I like the strategy.
He would have won.
55.
Brooklyn Dodger pitcher.
Sandy Koufax.
Johnny Podres?
Johnny Padres.
Excuse me.
So we also missed on Daryl Porter and Bob Gibson.
Bob Gibson. I couldn't think of any pitchers. That was. Randy Johnson, did he win?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nah.
In 2001.
Couldn't think of any pitchers. Like
Johnson and Schilling won
co-MVP.
Co-MVP.
So would I have gotten 2 if I said both?
Yeah.
I would have given it to you. I'm not giving you multiple points for guys who won the same, but you can get 2 for if there's a co-MVP. That's just how the rules work.
Did Edgar Renteria win one?
Edgar Renteria did in fact win the
San Francisco
2010 San Francisco Giants. That's one I never would have guessed.
Brain went to mush.
That happens. So, who gets the tickets?
We were contacting our winner right now. Who we had, I believe, the second or third guess overall for the entire shooting match was 5 exactly. So Gary Davis gets 5 today.
If you're gonna guess on me, just assume it's gonna be low.
No.
30 seconds. I did. So when I went down there to the Rizzuto show, they give them 10 seconds.
Oh, my
and
God.
she had to name 7, Lauren had to name 7 shoe brands in 10 seconds.
She can do that.
Aren't I
nice?
In 10 seconds?
Wow. You
Wow.
want to try it?
Look how kind I am.
You want to try it?
Look how nice I am.
Well, now it's making me
See?
nervous.
All right.
I'm not
7
like a
shoe
big
brands?
shoe
7
brand.
shoe
Okay, I
brands
could do
in
like
10 seconds.
I could do
Nike,
that.
Adidas. Oh, Nike, Adidas, Steve Madden, Christian Louboutin. I'm going to put a fancy one in there. Why can't I think of any more right now?
I think your time is up.
Aldo, Asics, Reebok.
Oh, you're going to do like alphabetical order. You see?
New Balance,
all
Puma, Nike, Adidas. You already said those
over 10
one.
seconds.
Time's up.
I got 6.
5 or 6, yeah.
I got like 5 or 6.
It's difficult.
It is difficult.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've got meaner to you guys.
Got a little balloon party coming up
appreciate
with T-Mac and Ajax. Great job today by our producer and audio engineer. What's wrong? Matthew's going crazy now. Matthew, great job. He's usually sharing it.
What is happening? What is going on?
Randy.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Brooke, did you have fun?
Yes.
How about that?
She's gonna be asleep.
Am I allowed to do that now on the YouTube? Will I get in trouble?
No, I don't think so. They sell it, right? It's over the counter.
I don't want people to think that I'm just over here taking shots, you know?
CD.
Show us your face. We want to see your face. Who said that? You want to see my face?
Hey, we thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show. Don't forget you can hear all of our shows on the podcast at 101ESPN.com or on the app. Brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. For all of us, until tomorrow morning at 7, have a great hump day, St. Louis.
And now for something completely different.
Hey, happy hour over at the Fenton Bar and Grill is awesome, and it's going to be even better on Friday. If you stop by and enjoy the delicious happy hour at Fenton Bar and Grill, you can also enjoy the presence of Cody Schrader. Mizzou running back is working with the Fenton Bar and Grill, and it's going to be pretty cool to have him over there. So what you want to do is stop by and enjoy some of their incredible happy hour specialties, like the mini tacos or the fried green beans or the pretzel bites or the breaded portobello mushroom strips. Not only can you take advantage of that wonderful happy hour, but you have the opportunity to meet Cody Schrader on Friday. He is going to be there at 6 o'clock, and you can say hi to him. And you can stop by the Fenton Bar and Grill for lunch today. They're going to have a great lunch. You love that chicken Caesar wrap, which is absolutely delicious. They have an amazing special for Wednesday lunch. It's their chicken tenders, their trash chicken tenders that are doused in their golden sauce. Absolutely delicious. Say hi to Alicia and Kelly and Ashley and Megan and Colleen. The whole gang there is so much fun. And, of course, you'll be able to say hi to the big guy, Chuck, as well. Have fun at the Fenton Bar and Grill. When you stop by, tell them Randy sent you.